Ayodhya Khand, Canto 1. Sage Narada meets Sri Ram. Lord Shiva said to Parvati, O Parvati, one day when Sri Ram, fully decked up by all types of ornaments, was sitting comfortably and happily on a jewel-studded throne in the palace courtyard, and while Mata Sita was swaying the whisk with a jewel-studded handle on the blue and dark-hued Sri Ram, adorned with a cost of money, and who was enjoying betel leaves with various spices offered to him most respectfully by his attendants. The celestial sage Narada descended from the sky to meet him. Seeing Narada, who was pure, clean, and with a glaze, a radiance like that of a spatika mani, a gem made of crystal or quartz, and divinely pure like a full moon of a winter night, and who was an image of divinity and spirituality. Come suddenly and unannounced, Sri Ram stood up. Accompanied by Mata Sita, he reverentially and affectionately welcomed the sage with folded hands and placed their heads on the ground as a token of great respect and humility before him. Sri Ram then addressed Narada in affectionate terms, O the most exalted sage, for worldly people like us who are ever engrossed in the pursuit of gratification of the sense organs and attached to the materialistic world, having your darshan is most difficult or a rare event. O sage, it is by the emergence of the good effects of my past noble, virtuous, righteous deeds that I have been able to have your darshan. Because when righteousness makes its presence felt, even worldly people have a chance to get communion with saints. Hence, O sage, I have been greatly honored and feel privileged at having your divine darshan. Now, please tell me what I shall do for you so that I can fulfill your wishes. Then sage Narada said to Raga, Sri Ram, who is compassionate towards his devotees, O Sri Ram, why do you create such deception for me by speaking words like an ordinary human being? O Vibho, your words that you are like an ordinary human are appropriate on the surface, so it seems, because the primordial cosmic energy, which is the cause of all creation, is your consort, your wife Sita. But, O Lord, merely by your contact, that eternal supreme cosmic energy, which is also called your Maya, creates Brahma and all other subjects of this creation. That Maya, which has the three qualities of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, is experienced or perceived only by virtue of her dependence on you and produces white, red, and dark complexioned creatures or subjects, respectively, who are classified into these three categories according to their characters, qualities, and virtues. You are called the householder of this great, vast, macrocosmic household called the world. Literally, the entire universe consisting of the three worlds celestial, terrestrial, and subterranean. You are Lord Vishnu, while Janaki, Mata Sita, is Lakshmi. You are Shiva, while Mata Janaki is Parvati. You are Brahma, while Mata Janaki is Saraswati. And you are the sun, while Mata Janaki is its radiance and splendor. You are the moon, while Mata Sita is the chaste and virtuous Rohini. You are Indra, while Mata Sita is Shachi, the daughter of Pulom. And you are the fire god, while Mata Sita is Swaha. O Lord, you are like the death god Yam, for all the while Mata Sita is Sanyam, meaning self-restraint or self-control. O Lord of the world, you are benignant but detached, dispassionate, while the auspicious Mata Sita is that malignant aspect, the hallucinations or the passions personified. You are Varuna, the Lord of Water, while the good charactered Mata Janaki is Varuni, his consort. You are Vayu, the wind, while Mata Sita is Sadgati, literally one who's constantly on the move or is ever changing. Oh Sri Ram, you are Kuber, and Mata Sita represents all his wealth, prosperity, and fame. You are Rudra, the one who wrathfully slays, annihilates the world, while the auspicious Mata Sita is called Rudrani. O Raghav, verily, whatever is masculine in this creation is represented by you, while the feminine aspect is denoted by Sita. Hence, O Lord, nothing in this world exists which is not one or the other aspect of either of you. Ignorance arising out of the shadow of your halo and radiance is known as the indiscernible, undefined, unverifiable aspect of you. Out of it arises the element of importance, which in turn creates Sutratma, and the latter produces the mortal body called the Linga Deha, consisting of various sense organs. The various permutations and combinations or assorted collection of ahankar, that is pride or vanity. It's buddhi, panch pran, and the 10 indriyas are collectively called the Linga Deha, having the attributes of and characterized by birth, death, sorrows, and happiness by the wise and learned people. Just for a side note, to understand what was mentioned here, the 5 vital wind forces of life are the following: Pran, which is the vital air that sustains life; the Apanavayu, the wind that passes through the anus, or it's a downward flowing energy; Samanavayu, balancing forces of life; Vyanavayu, the vital air which pervades throughout the body and mind; and the Udhanavayu, the air or wind which rises up in the throat or at the back of the throat moving upward. The 10 sense organs, or the Indriyas, which were referred to here, are the 5 organs of perception, such as the ears, nose, tongue, eyes, skin, and the 5 organs of action, such as mouth, hand, leg, organs of excretion, and organs of reproduction. Now moving on. The pure consciousness, when it is engrossed in this deceptive world and falsely identifies its pure self with this gross body, it is called Jiva. Ignorance, which has no end or beginning and which cannot be described by words, is the cause and attribute or characteristic feature of this thing called Jiva. Pure, unadulterated consciousness has only 3 states, which is the physical or the gross, the microscopic or the subtle, and the causal, which is the origin. When this consciousness is equipped with these 3 attributes or characters, it is known as Jiva. And when it is free from these 3 elements, it is famed as Parameshwar, the Supreme Soul. Oh, the best in the clan of Raghu. You are stranger to the 3 types of creation that consists of the waking state, the dreaming state, and the deep sleep state of consciousness. You are simply a conscious witness to these 3 states of existence. This whole visible, invisible creation that has risen from you is sustained by you and merges back into you. That is why you are the cause, essence, reality, elementary position of all that exists. Even as the illusion of a snake in a rope creates mortal fear of it, the misleading belief that this Jiva is me creates false fear in a person. Otherwise, when he realizes that he is the Paramatma, he is liberated from all fears and sorrows associated with this mundane, delusionary world. This realization removes the veils of deception and illusions sheathing his discrimination faculty, intellect, mind, and wisdom, and is called enlightenment. Since you reside inside the body of all in the form of a divine spark of light, of pure, divine, and sublime consciousness, and illuminate their mind intellect complex, therefore, it is you who is their soul, the life giving force, or the real, truthful identity, or Atma, which is the pure consciousness called the true self. Like the illusion of a serpent or the imagination of a serpent in a rope, the whole world is imagined to be present in you due to ignorance. Hence, when the true nature of your being is realized and understood, this illusionary and deceptive imagination also vanishes. That is why a seeker should practice Gyan, that is, pursuit of truth, the essential, basic, elementary nature of existence. Only those persons who are endowed with the attribute of your dedicated devotion can expect to achieve true knowledge. Hence, those who are possessed of your bhakti can only expect to have deliverance and salvation. O Lord, I am a follower of those who are in turn devotees of those who follow your other devotees. So please do not cast your delusions on me, but show your munificence and benevolence instead. O Lord, Brahma, who was born on a divine lotus which had emerged from your navel, is my father. Hence, I am your grandson. O Raghav, you should save and protect me, who am your devotee. Saying so, and repeatedly bowing his head in reverence, Narad's eyes were filled with tears of joy and exhilaration. He said, "O the best in the clan of Raghu, Lord Brahma has sent me to you. You have incarnated with the express purpose of slaying the demon Ravana. But now your father, Dasharatha, wants to anoint you as Prince Regent to take charge of the administration of the kingdom. O Sri Ram, once being enthroned and engrossed in the work of the kingdom, you will not be able to slay Ravana. What will happen to your promise that you had made to the gods about removing the burden of the earth by slaying Ravana? So, O King of Kings, make your promise come true, because you are steadfast and unwavering in truthfulness." Hearing these words of sage Narad, Sri Ram smiled and said, "O Narad, listen, is there anything about which I don't know? I shall without doubt fulfill all that I have promised earlier, but it has to be gradual. I shall progressively slay the demons one by one as their destiny ordains, and I shall thereby remove the burden of the earth. In order to kill Ravana, I shall proceed to the Dandakaranya forest tomorrow and shall live there distinguished as a hermit for the next 14 years. I shall destroy that wicked fellow along with his entire clan on the excuse of Sita's abduction." Narada was extremely pleased and exhilarated by Sri Ram making such a vow. After that, he circumambulated Sri Ram 3 times, prostrated before him, and obtaining his permission, he departed by the path of the sky to the abode of gods. That person who devotionally, diligently, sincerely, and with due reverence, faith, conviction, and belief reads, hears, or remembers daily his dialogue between sage Narad and Sri Ram gains detachment and renunciation from this mundane, delusionary, entrapping world and attains that supreme and only truthful stature called moksha, a stature which is most difficult even for the gods to attain or achieve. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 2. Preparation for crowning of Sri Ram and conversation between him and sage Vashishta. Manthara incites Kaikeyi. Lord Shiva said, one day, while sitting alone, King Dasharatha called his clan's priest, Guru Vashishta, and said, O Bhagwan, all the citizens, the elderly ones who are well versed in the Vedas, and the ministers praise Sri Ram repeatedly. Oh, the most exalted sage, it is my thought that since I have become old, I should put my eldest son, the lotus eyed Sri Ram, who possesses all good characters and virtues, on the throne. At this time, Bharat and Shatrughan have gone to visit their maternal uncle's place. But still, I want to anoint Sri Ram on the throne tomorrow itself. Give me your consent on this matter. Oh, the best among sages. You should make arrangements for collecting all the paraphernalia required for the purpose of this anointment and should go to Raghav and advise him accordingly. Multicolored flags and bunting should be put up in the city in all the directions. Besides that, golden and pearl bedecked festoons and hangings of various hues, shapes, and sizes should be tied everywhere. Then the king summoned the best among his ministers, Sumantra, and informed him that he would anoint Raghunandan, that is Sri Ram, as the prince regent the next day, and ordered him to collect all the accoutrements for that ceremony as decreed by sage Vashishta. Saying all right, Sumantra gladly asked sage Vashishta what was to be done. Then the sage, who was the best among the wise, learned ones, and most brilliant in knowledge, said to him, tomorrow morning, 16 virgin girls, fully decorated with golden ornaments, should be stationed at the central gate of the palace, and a 4-tusked elephant, which has the pedigree of Eravat elephant, should be fully decorated with jewels and placed similarly alongside the girls at the gate. Thousands of golden pitchers full of holy water from different pilgrim cities should be collected. Bring 3 new tiger skins and a parasol, that is a ceremonial umbrella, with a gem-studded handle and embellished with muktamani, a type of pearl. Numerous magnificent and beautiful garlands, clothes, garments, robes, and ornaments should be brought and kept ready, while many sages and seers who had been duly honored previously should be ready with a kush, a type of grass or reed used in religious rituals, in hand at the anointment site. Numerous female dancers, chief female singers, courtesans, expert musicians, and players of the Indian lute who are present in the city should commence singing, dancing, and playing their various musical instruments in the royal forecourt immediately. Outside the coronation arena, where the anointment ceremony would be held, the 4 wings of the army, that is, the elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers, should be fully armed and be at the ready. In all the temples in the city, the presiding deities should be worshipped with necessary sacrifices and offerings, while all the kings should come soon with various gifts and tributes. Having commanded the royal minister, Sumantra, as above, sage Vashishta himself proceeded to the palace of Raghav, Sri Ram. The most exalted sage mounted a chariot and crossed the first 3 gates of the palace, and then dismounted. Since he was the chief priest, he went straight unopposed inside the palace. Seeing that his guru had arrived, Sri Ram immediately stood up to welcome him with folded hands and prostrated before him with reverence. Just at that time, Mata Janaki brought water in a golden pot. Then Raghav seated him on a jewel-studded throne and washed his feet, and putting that washed water on his head along with Sita, said, O sage, I feel very privileged by putting the water used to wash your feet on my head. When Sri Ram said this, sage Vashishta smiled and replied, O Sri Ram, Lord Shiva, the husband of Mata Parvati, had felt highly grateful, fortunate, and privileged by keeping the water used to wash your feet on his head. That is, a reference to River Ganga. While my own father had become freed of all sins and misdemeanors by drinking it, just in order to show the world that type of treatment should be meted out to one's guru, you are talking in this manner. I know it fully well that you are a manifestation of Lord Vishnu, who is the Paramatma, along with Mata Lakshmi. O Raghav, I know it that you have made an incarnation with the object of doing the job of the gods, to make successful the devotion of your devotees, and to slay Ravana, though I should not have divulged the secret to ensure success in the fulfillment of the objects of the gods. Because Ravana should not get a hint that you are not an ordinary prince. O Raghunandan, even as you will behave like an ordinary prince, using your illusionary deceptive powers called Maya, I too shall treat you as my disciple and myself as your guru, so that the secret is maintained. But, O Lord, in reality, you are the true guru of all the gurus put together, and the great grandfather of all the ancestors. You are wise and omniscient as much as you know the eternal thoughts of all, are the one who has established the codes of behavior in this world, and are not the subject of discussion, debate, or comprehension by the mind, intellect, and speech. You have assumed this pure, truthful body and appear to be a human out of your own free will. I know that the profession of being a priest is most lowly, abhorrible, detestable, contemptible, corrupt, shameful, and ignoble means of livelihood. In spite of this reprehensible job and ignominy associated with such a profession, when I came to learn from Lord Brahma in some previous time that the Paramatma shall take an incarnation and reveal himself in the clan of King Ikshvaku, then, O Sri Ram, in order to establish a personal relationship with you, I accepted this contemptible, shameful, and hateful post of being a priest and decided to become the chief priest of your clan. O Raghunandan, today my wishes have been fulfilled. If now you wish to absolve yourself from the moral debt of a guru, then give me the assurance that your Mahamaya, which remains under your command, should never ever cast its spell on me. I have said these things just by the way because the subject arose. Otherwise, I shall never say such things anywhere else again. O Raghav, King Dasrath has requested me to convey to you the news that he wishes to anoint you to the throne tomorrow itself. To prepare for it, you should fast along with Sita and sleep on the floor, exercising self-restraint and observing purity of thought. Now I shall proceed back to the king. You present yourself tomorrow morning at the venue. Saying thus, the royal priest mounted his chariot and went immediately from there. Then Sri Ram looked at Lakshman and smilingly said, O the son of Sumitra, tomorrow I shall be anointed as a prince regent, but I shall be only a token, a passive prince regent, for all the deeds and their rewards shall be done and enjoyed by you, because my external being is you. There is nothing to think twice or doubt much about it any further. After that, Sri Ram did what sage Vashishta had advised him to do. Here, sage Vashishta went straight to the king and told him everything. At the time when Dasrath was first instructing Vashishta about his desires, some courtier overheard it, and the news spread like wildfire in the city. And he also informed Sri Ram's mother Kaushalya, as well as Sumitra. When the two heard it, they rewarded the messenger with a most beautiful and priceless garland. After that, Kaushalya, who loved her son very dearly, worshipped Mata Lakshmi for the welfare and success of Sri Ram. Kaushalya wondered, Dasrath is true to his words, and it is famous and renowned about him that he keeps his vows. But at the same time, he is lustful and infatuated with Kaikeyi. In this condition, will he be able to fulfill his vows and keep his words? Worried by these gloomy thoughts, she started worshipping Goddess Durga to help overcome this great hurdle. Just at that time, the gods prayed and pleaded with Mata Saraswati, the goddess of speech and intelligence. O goddess, you should go to Ayodhya in the terrestrial world. There, on the command of Lord Brahma, you should make necessary arrangements so that an obstacle is created in the anointment of Sri Ram on the throne of Ayodhya. At first, you enter and pollute the mind and intellect of Manthara, the hunchback maid of Kaikeyi, and next, Kaikeyi, to corrupt her discrimination faculty and wisdom. O the auspicious one, having thus created an hindrance, an obstacle in Sri Ram's anointment, you should come back to the heavens. At this, Mata Saraswati said, All right, and did as she was told. She entered Manthara's mind first. Manthara, who was bent in the body at 3 places and was a hunchback, strode atop the terrace of the palace and saw that the city had been decorated from all sides. There were different types of festoons, buntings tied here and there. Multicolored flags and banners were fluttering everywhere, and festivities were apparent. Seeing this, she was astonished and came down. She asked a junior maidservant, actually a Datri, a palace nurse, Oh mother, why has the city been so decorated today? And why is Queen Kaushalya celebrating most joyfully and most cheerfully, giving away various ornaments and garments to Brahmins? The nurse replied, Tomorrow Sri Ram would be anointed on the throne. This is the reason why the city has been decorated from all sides. As soon as Manthara heard it, she went to her mistress, Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi, who was endowed with broad eyes, was sitting alone on a bedstead. Manthara went to her and said, Oh, you most unfortunate idiot! How do you dare to sleep? A grave trouble has come to you. Oh, the one with a majestic gait, you're very proud of your beauty. That is why you're not concerned about anything. By the grace of King Dasrath, Sri Ram is being anointed on the throne of the kingdom tomorrow. Hearing this, the soft-spoken Kaikeyi stood up joyfully with a start and gave her jewel-studded golden anklet and exclaimed, Oh, you, this is very happy news for me. How come you call it the appearance or onset of troubles for me? Sri Ram is most dear to me, is my well-wisher and most soft-spoken as compared to Bharat. He treats me and Kaushalya equally and always serves me. Oh, you wretched fool, tell me what fear have you got from Sri Ram? Hearing this, Manthara, who had the nature of creating ill will and animosity without any rhyme or reason, began lamenting and said, Oh Devi, listen to me. In actual fact, a grave danger has indeed emerged for you. The king has always been using and pampering sweet words to keep you mollified and pleased, and has tried to dodge you by keeping you satisfied. King Dasharatha is very lascivious and a liar. He only keeps you distracted, but does all that Sri Ram's mother Kaushalya wishes him to do. With this idea of crowning Sri Ram, he has cleverly sent Bharat and Shatrughan to their uncle's palace. In this episode, all will be well with Sumitra without any doubt about it, for Lakshman always follows Sri Ram. Hence, he shall enjoy the kingdom with him. But Bharat has to live either as a servant or a slave of Sri Ram, or shall be exiled from the kingdom or might be assassinated. and you will always have to serve Kaushalya like a maid. It is better to die than to be subjected to such humiliation at the hands of one's rival. Therefore, you should immediately try for Bharat's coronation and 14 years of exile for Sri Ram in the forest. If this happens to materialize, your son Bharat shall mount the throne without any obstacle in this path. To achieve this, I shall tell you a trick that I've already thought of beforehand. In ancient times, during the legendary gods demons confrontation, Indra himself had approached King Dasrath, who was an expert archer and most brave and courageous in war, for help against the demons. Oh, the beautiful faced one! At that time, he had gone there to help the gods and had taken you along with him. When the expert archer king was engaged in fierce battle with the demons, a nail from the wheel of his chariot broke and fell off without him being aware of it. Then you had thrust your hands most courageously in the hole left by the nail. And oh, the dark complexioned one, you had remained in that position for a long time to save the life of your husband. When all the demons had been killed, the vanquisher of enemies, that Dashrath, saw you. He was overcome with astounding astonishment and jubilantly embraced you, saying, I want to give you a boon. Ask whatever you desire. You can ask for 2 boons or promises now. At this time you had replied, O Anag, that is meaning sinless or pure, majestic king, if you indeed wish to give me 2 boons, then you should keep it pending as a credit on my behalf. When the time comes, you should redeem them to me. Acceding to your request by saying all right, the king said, Oh, the one who is steadfast in your vows, that is basically a reference to a loyal wife. Now let's go home. O queen, I have heard about this episode from yourself. I happen to remember it now. So you should hastily go to Kop Bhavan, which is a palace earmarked for the queens, to show their anger. Wrathfully, remove all your ornaments and scatter them everywhere. Until the time the king does not make a stern vow to fulfill your desires, you should remain spread-eagled on the floor. Hearing the words of the hunchback Manthara, who was deformed at 3 places, the wicked Kaikeyi, whose intellect, wisdom, and discrimination was corrupted by the maligning effect of bad company, regarded Manthara's advice as correct and beneficial for her welfare. She said to her, From where have you got such wisdom? O deformed beauty, I did not know that you are so intelligent and wise. If my son Bharat becomes a king, I shall reward you with 100 villages. You are dearer to me, like my own life. Saying this, Kaikeyi went to the Kop Bhavan, seething with anger and vengeance. She removed all her ornaments and scattered them around her. Her dirty and torn clothes fell to the ground and said, O Manthara, listen, till the time Sri Ram does not go to the forest, I shall remain in this position even if I have to die. Advising her to do as was planned by saying, You should do it without doubt and dithering. This will surely result in your welfare. That hunchback Manthara went home, and Kaikeyi began implementing her plan. Verily, no matter how most courageous, fortitudinous, kind, merciful, compassionate, virtuous, righteous, steadfast towards his duties and responsibilities, devoted towards his guru, and full of wisdom, knowledge, and intelligent a person is, if he has contact with wicked, evil, perverted, and crooked persons, then surely he would be influenced by their sinful intellect and influence and gradually become like them. This is why one should forsake the company of evil and wicked persons, because by such company a person falls from his noble, exalted ideas and stature, like this Princess Kaikeyi. With that, we come to the end of Canto 2. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 3. King Dasrath accedes to Kaikeyi's demands. Lord Shiva said to Parvati, after that, King Dasrath, having ordered the ministers and citizens to do all auspicious deeds for the crowning of Sri Ram on the throne of the kingdom, proceeded to his private palace most cheerfully. Finding his dearest wife Kaikeyi absent from there, he became agitated and alarmed and began to wonder, what is the reason that she, who used to smilingly welcome me as soon as I came here, is not seen anywhere today? Being greatly bewildered and sorrowful in his heart at this, he asked the attendant maids, where is your good charactered mistress today? Why has that beautiful to look at beloved mistress not come before me as she always used to? The attendants replied, O Lord, the reason is not known, but today she has gone to the Kop Bhavan. You can go there yourself and find out everything. Hearing this answer from the maids, the king got scared and alarmed, and he went to her. He sat down beside her, caressed her slowly, and said, Oh, you shy and timid one, why have you left your bed and are lying on the floor? You do not speak to me. This causes perplexity and consternation to me. Why have you thrown away all your ornaments? And why are you lying on the floor in unkempt and shabby clothes? Tell me what you wish. I shall fulfill it. Who has harmed you? Whether he is a man or a woman, he or she will be surely punished by me. Not only this, he can also be killed if you so desire. Oh Devi, whatever will make you happy, do tell me. Even though that work might be most difficult, I shall do it immediately now, without wasting a moment. You know my heart. I love you most dearly, and I'm under your command. In spite of that, you make me so sorrowful and regretful. You are trying in vain. Tell me, which pauper do you wish to be made rich, and which rich person has annoyed you that you wish him to be made a pauper? I shall do it instantly. Tell me, which person who should not be normally killed do you wish to be slayed, or which person destined to be slayed to be set free? Oh dear, what more can I say on this subject? I can give my life for and to you. The lotus-eyed Sri Ram is dearer to me than my life. I make a vow in his name that I shall do whatever you will please of me. Then the king had made an oath in the name of Sri Ram. Kaikeyi slowly dried or wiped her tears and said to him, If you are really steadfast and unwavering in your words of honor, and say this on oath, then you shall fulfill all that I ask of you. In an earlier time, during the Deva and Asura war, I had saved your life. At that time, you were so pleased and happy with me that you had promised to give me 2 boons. So, O the truthful one, I had kept those 2 boons pending with you as credit. Now, out of those 2, first you must immediately anoint Bharat as Prince Regent, using the same paraphernalia collected for the purpose of anointment ceremony of Sri Ram. And second, Sri Ram should proceed to the Dandak forest forthwith. There, Sri Ram would wear matted hair and clothes made from the bark of trees, subsist on food consisting of edible roots, stems, and fruits, and live like a hermit for the next 14 years. After that period, if he wishes, he can come back to Ayodhya or stay back in the forest. But the lotus-eyed Sri Ram should surely go to the forest tomorrow morning without fail. If there is any delay on this count, then I shall die or commit suicide in front of you. You should live up to your reputations and vows and be truthful. This is my only wish and requirement. Hearing such stunningly shocking and stern words of Kaikeyi, Dasrath collapsed like a mountain hit by a thunderbolt. Gradually, he recovered himself, opened his eyes slowly, wiped his tears fearfully, and wondered, Is it a nightmare or am I hallucinating? At that instant, seeing Kaikeyi sitting in front of him like a lioness, he said, "O lady, what are these words that you speak which are capable of stealing my life? What harm has the lotus-eyed Sri Ram done to you? You had always been praising Sri Ram's good character and nature before me day and night. You had earlier been saying that Ram treats me and Kaushalya alike and always serves me. Why then are you talking the opposite now? You take the kingdom for your son, Bharat, but let Sri Ram stay here. Oh, Vame, that is one who sits on the left, usually a wife, have mercy on me. You have nothing to fear from Sri Ram." Saying this, Dasrath fell at her feet, full of tears and pleading before her. Then Kaikeyi glared at him sternly with red eyes. "O king, are you having delusions? That you speak against your own vows? Remember, if you break your vows, you will have to suffer in hell. Sri Ram does not proceed to the forest tomorrow, itself attired in a deer skin and wearing apparels made of bark of trees, I shall either hang myself or eat poison and kill myself in front of you. You deceive everyone in all the assemblies in the world by saying I'm truthful to my words. But now you break a vow made on oath invoking Sri Ram. Hence, you will go to hell." Hearing such stern and harsh words of his beloved, the king was submerged in an ocean of sorrows and miseries, and became so very agitated. He became unconscious, fainted, and fell on the ground as if struck by death itself. In this way, that night seemed like a year for him because of extreme anguish, sorrow, regrets, and gloom. Here, at the crack of dawn, singers, royal bards began singing laudatory songs outside the gates of the palace. But Kaikeyi had ordered them to stop the celebrations and was sitting angrily and vengefully. Meanwhile, all the necessary arrangements and accoutrements for the anointment ceremony, such as the assembly of Brahmins and Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, sages, seers, the girls' majestic and grand ceremonial umbrellas, whisks, the elephants, horses, etc., were assembled and readied at the central gate. Besides this, as per instructions of sage Vashistha, the chief courtesans, denizens of the city, as well as subjects of the kingdom, were also present there. During the previous night, none of the women, children, elderly slept. Everyone is excited and jubilant at the prospect of watching Lord Ram dressed in a silk pitambar during the next day's ceremonies. All the citizens wondered, he who shall be decorated by all the available ornaments, be adorned by a brilliant tiara and crown, as well as a cost of money, has a beautiful dark radiant complexion, which is akin to hundreds of Kamdeo cupids taken together, and who shall have the white ceremonial umbrella held over his head by Lakshman, who is endowed with all the good characters and virtues. When shall we behold him atop an elephant, smiling sweetly, come for the anointment ceremony? When will that auspicious dawn occur? In this manner, the mind, heart, and intellect of all the subjects of the kingdom were extremely eager and excited. About this time, the senior minister Sumantra wondered why the king had not got up from his sleep, and he went silently to the palace to inquire. Having reached there, he saluted the king, saying, "Glory to you," and bowed before him. Seeing the king most remorseful and worried, he said to Kaikeyi, "O Devi Kaikeyi, bless you. Say, why is the king looking so disturbed, remorseful, and perturbed?" At this, Kaikeyi replied, "Today, the king did not get any sleep last night. The whole night he kept on repeating Ram, Ram, as if in a delirious trance. Since he kept awake, he looks a little sick today. The king wishes to see Sri Ram. Hence, please go and bring him here immediately." "Oh, noble lady, how can I go without the king's permission?" Hearing these words of the minister, the king said, "O Sumantra, I want to see Sri Ram, who is an image of beauty and charm. Bring him here soon." As soon as the king said so, Sumantra proceeded to the palace of Sri Ram. He entered the palace without any objection from the guards and said to Sri Ram, "O the lotus-eyed Sri Ram, bless you with all welfare and auspiciousness. Accompany me soon to your father's palace, for the king wishes to meet you." Hearing this, Sri Ram appeared astonished, and he immediately mounted a chariot and headed for his father's palace. Accompanied by his charioteer and Lakshman, Sri Ram showed his regards to sage Vashistha and others assembled at the central gate by merely bowing before them from a distance, while still on the move, and hastily reached his father and bowed before his feet. At that moment, as soon as the king stood up and extended his arms eagerly to embrace Sri Ram, he stopped in the middle, muttered, "Ah, Ram," and slumped down to the ground. Then Sri Ram lamented aloud in confusion and perplexity, saying, "Alas, alas," and hurried embrace him and picked him up onto his lap. Seeing the king in an unconscious state, all the women folk of the royal household began weeping and wailing. Wondering what was the cause of these loud wailings, sage Vashistha also reached there from the central gate. Sri Ram said, "Kaikeyi, what is the reason for the king's great miseries and sorrows?" When thus asked, Kaikeyi replied, "O Sri Ram, you are the cause of the king's agonies, and you will have to do something which pleases him in order to calm down his mental turmoil, contrition, and anguish which is causing him so much distress. You are steadfast in upholding truth, and you should also make the king stick to his vows. He has been pleased to give me 2 boons earlier, but the success of those 2 boons are in your control. The king appears to hesitate to tell them to you himself, but you should protect your father, who has been entangled in the snare created by this truth, because the literal meaning of the word putra is the one who protects his father from going to hell." Hearing these words of Kaikeyi, Sri Ram was anguished and hurt, as if virtually pierced by a sharp, pointed instrument. He said, "O mother, why do you talk with me like this today? I can lay my life for my father, drink poison for him, so much so that I can leave even Mata Sita, Kaushalya, and the kingdom for you. That son who fulfills the desires of his father even without receiving any express instructions from him is considered the best among sons. That son who does anything only after he receives express orders from his father is considered medium, and that son who disobeys him is like excreta. Hence, whatever the father has ordered, I shall definitely fulfill it. This is the truth. Ram never says dubious, doubtful things." Hearing this determination of Sri Ram, Kaikeyi began to say thus, "O Ram, the necessary paraphernalia, the accoutrements collected for the purpose of your anointment should be used instead for my son, Bharat. This is my firstborn that is to be fulfilled. According to the second boon or promise that the king has made to me, you should regard it as an order from your father to accept the garments made from the bark of trees, that is the birch tree, Chirvastra, and make your hair into matted tresses, and proceed forthwith to the forest, sustaining yourself on food befitting hermits and ascetics, therefore, for the next 14 years. That is all. This is the work of your father that you should do, but the king is reluctant to say these things to you himself." Sri Ram replied, "O mother, let Bharat merrily enjoy the kingdom, and I am going to the Dandakaranya forest immediately. But I can't understand why the king does not tell this to me directly. Hearing these words of Sri Ram and seeing him sitting in front of him, the anguished and miserable king Dasrath said these most regretful and contrite words: O Ram, take this kingdom forcefully from me, who am under the spell of a woman, under illusions or wrong impressions, am the follower of unrighteous, sinful path, unrighteous soul by willingly tying myself in shackles. You shall not be guilty of committing any sin or misdemeanor by doing so. O Raghunandan, I too shall be absolved by not saying a lie by doing so. Saying thus, the king began to wail and lament. O Ram, O Lord of the world, O dear to my soul, how do you think it proper to go to the forest leaving me alone? Saying this, King Dasharatha clasped Sri Ram to his bosom and wept bitterly, openly and profusely. Then Sri Ram took some water in his hands and washed the tears of his father. Sri Ram, who was an expert in probity and propriety, rules of conduct and sanctioned code of behavior, dharma, ethics and morality, began to console him diplomatically. Slowly, soothingly, he said, O Lord, if my younger brother Bharat rules the kingdom, what is there to be sorrowful about it? I too shall fulfill this vow and return back to you at Ayodhya. And, O King, while staying in the forest, I shall be enjoying happiness which would be millions of times greater than at Ayodhya. In this, your honor and truthfulness would be protected, the work of the gods would be done, and the welfare of Kaikeyi would also be ascertained. Hence, O King, there is a lot of goodness and virtue in my staying in the forest. Now I want to depart soon. Let the anguish of Mother Kaikeyi be calmed down. Let the things assembled for my anointment be kept aside. After consoling Mother Kaushalya and somehow explaining the situation to my Janaki, I shall come back soon, and after paying obeisance at your feet, I shall forthwith proceed to the forest. Saying so, he circumambulated his father and came to meet his mother Kaushalya. At that time, she was worshipping Lord Vishnu for the welfare and well-being of Sri Ram. She had already done the ritualistic fire sacrifice and had given a lot of wealth as charity to Brahmins, and was presently observing silence and was deeply concentrating on Lord Vishnu. That is, she was meditating. Being deeply engrossed in meditation on Lord Vishnu, who is omnipresent and all-pervading, an embodiment of all powers, is splendorous and radiant, an embodiment of love and compassion, eternally all blissful, and the Lord God, she could not see Sri Ram arrive there. With that, we come to the end of Canto 3. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 4. Preparations of Sri Ram, Sita, Lakshmana for forest exile. Then Lord Shiva said, O Parvati, Queen Sumitra, seeing Sri Ram standing, hesitantly woke Kaushalya from her trance-like state and told her that he was waiting. As soon as she heard the name of Sri Ram, she became conscious of her surroundings, saw the broad-eyed Sri Ram, embraced him and made him sit on her laps. She smelt his head, which was at that time a token of affection, caressed his dark-complexioned body, which resembled the hue of a blue lotus, with her hand, and said, O son, you should be hungry. Eat something sweet. Sri Ram said, O mother, I do not have time to eat, because this time has come, and it has been fixed for me to proceed to Dandakaranya forest today. My most truthful and honorable father has promised Mother Kaikeyi under oath to give the kingdom to Bharat and send me to exile in the forest. I shall live there for 14 years, attired as a hermit, and thereafter I shall return as soon as possible. You should not worry at all. Hearing these shocking words spoken all of a sudden, Kaushalya fainted due to overwhelming sorrow and dismay. When she recovered consciousness, she sort of tossed up and down in the ocean of great sorrow and anguish and said to Sri Ram, "Oh Sri Ram, if you are really going to the forest, then take me along. How can I survive even for a fraction of a second without you? Even as a cow cannot live anywhere without her young calf, I too can't leave you, my dear son. If the king is pleased with Bharat, he should surely hand over the kingdom to him. But why does he order you, dear son, to go to the forest? By giving a boon to Kaikeyi, let the king give all that he has to her. But what harm have you done to either the king or to Kaikeyi? O Ram, even as your father is your guru, I too am of a greater importance to you. If the father has told you to go to the forest, then I am stopping you. If you defy my words and go to the forest on the orders of your father, I shall leave my life and go to hell." Then, hearing Kaushalya's words, Lakshmana looked at Sri Ram with fierce, stern eyes and spoke angrily as if to burn the three worlds by his wrath. "I shall tie up the king who is mad and intoxicated, misled and under delusions and infatuated under the spell of Kaikeyi. I shall kill Bharat along with his accomplice, maternal uncle and other aides. Let them first see today my manhood, which is virile and potent enough to burn and scorch all the lokas like the fire emerging from the legendary dragon, Sheshnath. O Sri Ram, the vanquisher of enemies, you should prepare for the anointment. I shall kill all those, with a bow and arrow in my hands, whoever tried to cause any hurdles in it." When Lakshman said so, Raghunandan clasped him to his bosom and said to pacify him, "Oh, the best in Raghu's clan, you're very valorous and brave, and my greatest well-wisher. Whatever you say, I know is true, but this is not the proper time for it. Your efforts would have been truly successful if this kingdom and the body, etc., which are visible, had been true. But these comforts of the world are like the transient lightning in the tent of the clouds, whereas life is as momentary as a drop of water on a piece of iron made red hot with fire. Even as a frog greedily looks at a fly while itself lying in the mouth of a snake, the people too yearn rapaciously for the perishable, transient, and temporary comforts and pleasures of this mundane, delusionary world, in spite of being regularly devoured by the serpent representing Kal or death. What a surprise that a man suffers so much and indulges in various deeds and actions day and night just for the pleasures of the sense organs of this body. If he simply realizes that this body is different from the soul, then say, how can he derive any enjoyment or pleasure from it? The meeting with father, mother, son, brother, wife, kin, relatives, and friends are like those who assemble to drink water at a water hut and are as temporary, elusive, transient, or coincidental as a collection of sticks wobbling and tossing in the swift current of water in a river. It is evident, without any doubt, that Mata Lakshmi, or wealth or prosperity, is as transient, temporary, and elusive as a shadow. Youth is as perishable and short-lived as a wave in the water. Comfort of woman is as false and nightmarish as a dream, and life is of most minimal duration. In spite of that, the creatures have great pride in them. This world is verily a collection of various diseases and torments, as well as false and elusive like a dream, and a city of Gandharvas. Only foolish and ignorant ones regard it as true and follow it. The age is steadily decaying with the rise and setting of the daily sun. Old age and death of others is being observed by the creatures daily, but still the foolish ones do not wake up to the reality. The day and night follow the same pattern, but an ignorant fool pursues comforts and pleasures of the sense objects without observing the passage of time. That is, he does not wake up to the fact that death is fast approaching. Age is decaying and wasting away every moment like water filled in an unripe clay pot, while the hordes of various diseases are destroying the body gradually like so many enemies. Old age is menacingly standing in the front like a frightening, ferocious, cruel, and savage lioness, while death walks alongside it, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Only those who have egoistic attachment with this body, consisting of nothing else but germs, excreta, and ash, consider themselves as I am a world famous king. O Lakshman, think deeply and then say that the body relying upon which you wish to burn and scorch the world, and which is made of skin, bones, flesh, excreta, urine, sperm or ova, and blood, etc., how can that resultant evil, faulty, and dirty body ever be Atma? O brother, all faults arise in a person who is proud of his body. The fallacious thinking that I am the body is called ignorance, while the belief or realization that I am not the body but the pure consciousness or soul is enlightenment, true knowledge, and wisdom. Ignorance and delusions are the cause of the world, representing birth and death, while wisdom, truthful knowledge, and enlightenment frees or delivers one from it. Hence, the seekers of emancipation and salvation should strive to gain true wisdom, knowledge, and enlightenment. O the vanquisher of enemies, lust, greed, yearnings, anger, etc., are the enemies that create obstacles in this path. Out of these, anger, wrath, and maliciousness are sufficient to put an obstacle in obtaining emancipation and salvation, because under its spell a person kills even his father, mother, dear one, brothers, and friends. The root cause of mental agitation and anguish, perplexity and vengeance is anger and maliciousness. It is anger that ties one to this mundane world and results in decay or destruction of dharma, that is righteousness and conduct. Therefore, you should forsake anger. This anger, malice, vengeance is the great enemy. Attachments is the legendary Vaitharni river. Contentedness or placidity is the Nandan river, the forest in heaven marked by peace and tranquility. And peace, serenity, bliss is the Kamdhenu cow, the celestial cow of the gods, which is all wish fulfilling. Hence, be at ease and calm down. By doing so, the enemy in the form of anger will not have any effect on you. The soul is different and separate from the body. The sense organs, the mind, the vital winds, and the intellect and discrimination faculty is pure, self-illumined, faultless, without any blemish or tarnish, and is an attributeless entity. As long as a person does not realize or understand that the Atma is different and distinct from the body, sense organs, and vital winds, etc., he remains tied to the snare of life and death, and consequentially suffers from hordes of worldly agonies and sorrows, torments and tribulations. Therefore, you must treat your soul pure consciousness, as separate and distinct from your mind intellect apparatus. Follow this external world of deeds and actions with a behavior consonant with this outlook, and bear both sorrow and joy, whatever you get is destined for you by your previous deeds, with equanimity and forbearance, without having any mental anguish, contrition, and regrets. O Raghav, in this case, it's in reference to Lakshman. If you continue to do deeds by your external sense organs, as and when they present themselves before you, requiring your attention as per the destined course of action, you still would not be bound in the shackles created by those deeds. Being internally, mentally free from infatuations, attachments, and the sense of belonging, having no malice or ill will towards anyone, and having a pure, unbiased way of thinking, you shall not be indulgent, involved, or attached with those actions or deeds that your body does. Contemplate in your heart on all that I have said, and always keep it in your mind. By following this, you shall never be hindered by the various sorrows, agonies, troubles, and tribulations of this mundane world. Then he addressed his mother. O mother, you should also think over what I have said on a regular basis, and wait for the time when I shall meet you again. You will not have sorrows and agonies for long. Creatures who are tied to the snare of their deeds and their incumbent rewards cannot always expect to have coexistence. Even as boats without sails, which are floating down the swift currents of a river, do not always remain together, O mother, this seemingly long 14-year period will fly away as if it were only half of a moment. All of you remove your sorrow and lamentations and give me permission to proceed to the forest. If you do so, I shall live happily, without any regrets and sense of guilt of being the cause of agonies and anguish to others in the forest. Having said so, Lord Ram lay on the feet of his mother, prostrated like a stick for a long time. After that, the mother, Kaushalya, lifted him and seated him on her laps, blessed and praised him. She said, "Let Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, along with the Gandharvas, demigods, celestial musicians, and all other gods always protect you while you walk, sit, or sleep." In this way, clasping him repeatedly to her bosom, the mother bade farewell to Sri Ram with a very heavy heart. Then Lakshman filled his eyes with tears of joy and exhilaration and said to him with a voice choked with emotions, "O Sri Ram, you have removed all my internal doubts, confusions, and indecisions. I shall now follow you to serve you in the forest. Give me your consent for it. Please show me mercy and grace upon me, otherwise I shall leave my body." Sri Ram replied to him, saying, "All right, come along, do not delay." After that, the husband of Sita, whose Vibho, that is Lord Ram, proceeded to his own palace to comfort and explain the developments to her. Then Sita, who used to speak softly with a smile, saw her husband coming. She brought water in a golden pot and reverentially washed his feet and asked him, "O Lord, why have you come alone without your army?" That is the royal escort. "Where had you gone to in the morning? Where is your white ceremonial umbrella? Why have the musical instruments stopped playing, and why are you devoid of a crown, a tiara on your head, and other ornaments befitting a prince? Why have you not come with a regal pomp and pageantry, along with other subordinate kings and ministers?" When Sita asked these questions, Sri Ram smiled and replied, "Oh, the auspicious, blessed one, the father, has given me the entire kinghood of a place called Dandakaranya. Oh, so noble lady, I shall proceed soon to take charge. I shall go to the forest today. You should go to your mother in law and remain there serving her. I do not tell any lie. When Sri Ram had said so, Sita was scared and horrified. She fearfully asked him, "Why has your great father given you the kinghood of a forest?" Sri Ram replied, "Oh, Hanag, the king was pleased with Kaikeyi and gladly gave her the reign of the kingdom to Bharat, while exiled to me by giving boons to her. The Devi, that is Ma Kaikeyi, had asked for 14 years of exile for me. So the truthful and compassionate king had acceded to her wishes and gave that boon to her. Hence, O noble lady, my dear wife, I shall go there soon. Do not create any obstacles in this." Hearing these words from Sri Ram, Sita said most cheerfully, "I shall go to the forest first. You come behind me." "Oh, Sri Ram, it is not proper for you to go to the forest leaving me behind." Pleased with her response, Sri Ram then affectionately said to his beloved, soft spoken wife, Mata Janki, "How can I go along with how can you come along with me to the forest full of tigers and other wild animals? There are ferocious demons who live to eat humans, while cruel and wild animals such as lions, tigers, and boars roam about everywhere. Oh, the one with the beautiful waist. For food, one gets only bitter and sour fruits and roots. Delicious eatables are never available there. Oh, the beautiful one. Those fruits are also always not available. They are found only occasionally. In that forest, the path is sometimes not visible because it is covered by dust and thorns. That Dandakaranya is full of such numerous falls. It has numerous caves and holes in the ground, while it is replete with cobwebs and spike like thorns and prickles. In such a forest, one has to walk on foot even during cold, wind, and heat. I doubt that you will die of shock on seeing the fierce and horrible image of demons, etc., in the forest. Therefore, O gentle lady, you should stay home. You shall see me again very soon." Hearing these words of Sri Ram, Mata Sita became agitated and overwhelmed with sorrow and said angrily, with a slight emotional quiver in her lips, "Why do you want to leave this loyal and chaste wife of yours at home? You are an expert in Dharma and are merciful and compassionate. Why then do you wish to abandon your ardent devotee and chaste wife who is without any stain or blemish? O Sri Ram, even in the forest, who can do any harm to me while you are with me? Whatever fruits and roots will be left over after you've had them shall be like Amrit for me. I shall be contented by them and live happily. While roaming with you, even the grass blades, reeds, and thorns, etc., shall be like a bed of flowers for me. There is no doubt about it. I shall not give you any trouble of any kind. On the contrary, I shall be helpful in your endeavors. During my childhood days, an expert astrologer had prophesied that I shall live with my husband in the forest. Let those words of that Brahmin be truthful. I shall surely accompany you to the forest. There is one more thing I tell you. On hearing it, you would take me to the forest. You must have read many Ramayans from the mouth of many learned Brahmins. Tell me, has Sri Ram gone to the forest without Sita in any of these versions of the Ramayana? Hence, I shall truly be your helper and companion and will surely go alongside you to the forest. If you go alone by abandoning me, then I shall leave my life immediately in front of you." Seeing such a firm determination by Sita, Raghunandan said, "O Devi, come along with me to the forest hastily. Give these necklaces and other priceless ornaments to sage Vashishta's wife, Arundhati now." We shall donate all our wealth to Brahmins and then go to the forest. Saying so, he asked Lakshman to call all the Brahmins. Raghu Kulketu, literally a shining star in Raghu's clan, gladly donated hundreds of cows, a lot of wealth, magnificent clothes, garments, and ornaments to virtuous, expert Brahmins, along with their relatives and kin. Sita gave away her main ornaments to Mata Arundhati, while Sri Ram gave away a lot of wealth to the servants serving his mother. Similarly, he distributed a lot of arms to the servants of the royal household, denizens of the city, subjects of the realm, and Brahmins. On the other hand, Lakshmana put his mother Sumitra in the care of Kaushalya, took his bow in his hand, and stood before Sri Ram. After that, Sri Ram, Mata Sita, and Lakshman went to the king together. Sri Ram, who was dark complexioned and as beauteous as thousands of Kamadeo cupids, accompanied by Sita and younger brother Lakshman, went along slowly on the central avenue of the city, illuminating all the 10 directions with his splendor and brilliant radiance, while the citizens and subjects of the kingdom watched him eagerly with affection, curiosity, and wonder, while he purified the whole world by the touch of his holy feet while on his way to the palace of his father. With that, we come to the end of Canto 4. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 5, Sri Ram's Forest Exile. Lord Shiva said to Parvati, watching Sri Ram coming down the road along with Mata Janaki and Lakshman, and having heard about the episode of Kaikeyi's bulls, all the denizens of the city became extremely exasperated, sorrowful, and agitated. They said to each other, alas, King Dasrath has been so enamored by a woman and was under the spell of lust that he abandoned his most dear and truthfully righteous son. How can he be called righteous and truthful? And that wicked Kaikeyi, how come she gave forest exile to Sri Ram, who is most truthful and affectionately benevolent towards all? Why has she become so cruel, pervert, and mentally depraved? O companions, we must not stay here any longer. Rather, we shall go to the forest today, where Sri Ram wishes to go with his wife and younger brother. Just have a look. Sita is walking on foot today. Alas, that Janaki, who is the most beautiful in the 3 lokas and who was rarely, if ever, seen by a male earlier, is walking in front of the crowd without any veil on her face. Look at Sri Ram too, who is the most charming and beautiful in all the worlds. He is also walking on foot today without any accompanying royal paraphernalias such as horses and elephants. This Kaikeyi is demoness in disguise, who has taken birth to destroy all of us. Brothers, even Sri Ram must be feeling greatly sorrowful and anguished by seeing Sita walk on foot. But what can be done in this happening? Destiny is very powerful and cruel. A man's efforts are totally ineffectual or in vain against it. Seeing community of sadhus in such mental agony, distressed and agitated, sage Vamadeo, that is, Lord Shiva, or a sage of Vedic period, with the same name said to be the incarnate of Shiva, came to them and consoled them. I shall make you aware of the reality. You should not worry about Sri Ram and Sita. This Ram is not an ordinary person, but the ancient Lord Vishnu and his Janaki, his Lakshmi, who is famed as the Yog Maya, supreme power of delusion, the supreme cosmic infinite creative energy of the Lord, which can be harnessed by the meditative process called yoga, hence called Yog Maya. Presently, the one who follows him in the person of Lakshman is none other than the legendary Sheshnath. This supreme cosmic soul, accompanied by his delusionary powers, appear to have various forms. Endowed with the quality of Rajas, the desire to produce and enjoy, he has become the creator, Brahma, while being richer in the quality of Sat. He is Lord Vishnu, who is the protector and sustainer of the three worlds. At the end of a kalpa, he takes the help of the third quality of Tamas and annihilates the world in the form of Rudra. In an earlier time, this same person, Raghav, had taken the form of a large fish and had saved his devotee Vaivaswat Manu from drowning at the time of the doomsday deluge. At the time of the legendary churning of the ocean, when Mount Mandrachal had begun sinking to the netherworld. It was then that the best one in the Raghu's clan, Sri Ram, had assumed the form of a tortoise and had borne it on his back. During the period of the great deluge, when the earth had been submerged, he became the boar and salvaged the earth on its snout. Similarly, he had assumed the form of a half-man, half-lion, Narsimha, to give a boon to his devotee Prahalad, and had torn the entrails out of his father Hiranyakashipu, who was a thorn-like demon for the three worlds, with his nails. Once, when the god's mother Aditi prayed to him on seeing that her son Indra was being deprived of his kingdom, at that time he had assumed the form of the dwarf mendicant Vamana and had begged to retrieve the kingdom for him. In order to destroy the tyrannical Kshatriya kings, he became sage Bhrigu's son Parashuram. The same Lord of the universe has appeared in the form of Sri Ram now. He shall slay Ravana and crores of other demons. The evil soul's death is destined at the hand of a human being. King Dasrath, in his previous life, had propitiated Lord Vishnu with severe austerities and penances, so that he takes birth in the former's household. That is why the Lord has taken birth as his son. That Lord Vishnu is Sri Ram now. There is no doubt about it. Now he shall proceed to the forest along with Lakshmana to kill Ravana. This Sita is a personification of the Lord's Maya, which creates, sustains, and annihilates the world. The king of Kaikeyi are not in the least the cause of his exile. It was only yesterday that sage Narad had pleaded with him to remove the burden of the earth. At that time, Sri Ram had assured him himself that he would go to the forest the next day. Hence, all of you should not worry for Sri Ram. In this world, those people who constantly chant Ram, Ram, do not have any fear of death, etc., of any kind. Then, how can one ever have any doubt that the great Sri Ram himself will suffer from sorrows in any manner whatsoever? During the era of Kali, one can attain emancipation and salvation merely on the strength of Sri Ram's holy name and by no other means. The Lord is the cause of the universe, is playing sport in this world in the disguise of a human being to provide his devotees the benefit of enjoying and singing the praises of his visible form, having the characters, attributes, and virtues, as well as for slaying Ravana. Besides this, he has assumed his human form to fulfill the wishes of King Dasharatha. Having said this, sage Vamdeo fell silent. Hearing this, all the assembled seniors and wise ones recognized Sri Ram as the all-pervading, supreme Lord Vishnu. Thereafter, they left their doubts aside and started remembering Sri Ram, the Lord. Those persons who regularly, daily, persistently, constantly, consistently contemplate and reflect on this secret about the nature of Sri Ram would have steadfast and robust devotion and dedication for Sri Ram based on sound logical reasoning. and wisdom steeped in knowledge of the truth and awakening. All of you are most dear to Sri Ram, so keep this fact always a secret. Saying this, sage Vamdeo departed from there, while the citizens also came to realize that Sri Ram is no ordinary human being, but is the supreme macrocosmic soul called the Paramatma. Meanwhile, Sri Ram entered the palace of his father along with Lakshmana and Mata Sita and said to Kaikeyi, O mother, as per your orders, we three have come prepared to proceed to the forest. Let the father give us permission. When Sri Ram had said so, Kaikeyi got up herself and gave separate hermit like robes and garments made of barks of trees to Sri Ram, Lakshman, and Sita. Then Sri Ram gave up his royal robes and ornamental clothes and accepted hermit like clothes. Lakshman too did the same, but Sita did not know how to wear them. She picked them up in her hands and hesitantly and shyly looked at Sri Ram. Then Sri Ram wrapped or draped that piece of cloth around her body over her normal clothes. Seeing this, all the women folk of the palace began weeping and lamenting. Then sage Vashistha was very irked seeing them all weeping and could not contain his anger and revulsion any longer. He angrily chided Kaikeyi, O you wicked and pervert one, you had asked for the boon of sending only Sri Ram to the forest. Why then you give forest-like clothes to Sita? If the loyal, chaste and devoted wife that Sita is wishes to follow her husband Sri Ram to the forest, then she must go with him fully decked with all the ornaments and wearing all magnificent clothes that she is already wearing at present, and should endeavor to minimize or reduce Sri Ram's troubles in the forest and make him feel happy and comfortable there as far as possible. Then King Dasrath ordered Sumantra, O Sumantra, bring the chariot. But be aware, by then Mata Sita had already disposed of all her jewelry on the orders of Sri Ram and had given them to sage Vashishta's wife Arundhati. As for clothes, it is obvious from verse number 37 that Sri Ram had wrapped the hermit-like overall on and around the sari, that other garments that Sita was already wearing. Hence, we conclude that Sita went to the forest with proper clothes on as befitting her stature as the daughter-in-law of Ayodhya, but without extravagant jewelry and costly ornaments. She was only wearing basic ornaments worn by a married woman as directed by sage Vashishta, and that was it. Moving on, these three, Sri Ram and others who are dear to those living in the forest, shall go there on a chariot. Saying so, Dasrath looked at Sri Ram along with Lakshmana and Sita. He was overcome with grief and remorse and fell down on the floor and wept bitterly, with tears rolling down from his eyes. Then, even as Sri Ram watched, Sita hastily boarded the chariot. First, before Sri Ram and Lakshman could do so. This is to represent. It was Sita who first strode the chariot, as she is represented as the cosmic Adi Shakti, the cosmic supreme infinite energy which had manifested or revealed from time to time in the form of Durga, Kali, Parvati, etc. This seemingly innocuous incident has great symbolic significance, that the cosmic Shakti has taken the initiative to fulfill the work of the gods, which was Ravan's death. Sri Ram was simply following her, not leading her. By boarding the chariot first, she indicated that she was in the lead and symbolically told Sri Ram not to hesitate or be reluctant any longer. She seemed to say, I am in charge now. Moving on. Then Sri Ram circled his father as a token of showing respect to him and mounted the chariot. Behind him boarded Lakshman, armed with 2 bows, 2 swords, and quivers. Then he asked the charioteer to start for the journey. King Dasharatha interceded, calling out, "O Sumantra, stop, stop." But Sri Ram told him, move on, and proceed hastily. So Sumantra moved the chariot forward. When Sri Ram had gone some distance, the king fainted and fell on the ground. Thereafter, all the residents of the city, children, elderly, and sages and seers, ran behind the chariot, wailing and shouting, "Stop, Ram! Do not go! O Ram, please stop!" The king went on weeping for a long time. Then he instructed his attendants, "Take me to the residence of Kaushalya, Sri Ram's mother. Staying there, this tormented soul of mine can survive for some time, but I will not be able to live for long now without Sri Ram." Then, as soon as he reached Kaushalya's palace, the king fell unconscious on the ground. After that, when he regained consciousness, after a long time, he sat quietly in a daze. Here, Sri Ram reached the banks of the river Thamsa and stayed there comfortably. During the night, he did not eat anything but drank only water. And along with Sita, he slept under a tree, while Lakshmana, along with Sumantra, protected him and armed with a bow. The citizens who were following the chariot from behind finally caught up, and all the citizens came there and stayed near them for the night. They were determined that either they would take Sri Ram back to Ayodhya or else they shall accompany him to the forest. When Sri Ram came to know about their determination, he was in a quandary and greatly perplexed, thinking that since he will definitely not return to Ayodhya and they would unnecessarily suffer in the forest, he called Sumantra aside and said, "O Sumantra, bring the chariot for me and we shall move ahead forthwith." Being thus instructed by Sri Ram, Sumantra yoked the horses to the chariot. Then Sri Ram, Lakshman, and Sita boarded it and swiftly moved on. They took the chariot towards Ayodhya for some distance and then turned towards the forest. When the subjects woke up the next morning and found Sri Ram missing from the place, they were extremely sad, remorseful, frustrated, and exasperated. They followed the marks made by the wheels of the chariot and retraced their path back to Ayodhya. But at the crossroad, they lost its tracks. They spent their days fondly remembering Sri Ram and Sita in their hearts. Here, Sumantra moved his chariot with due respect, that is, as directed by Sri Ram. Then Sri Ram saw the vast countryside of the realm and arrived at the banks of river Ganges at Shringverpur. Seeing the holy river, he happily bowed his head and bathed in it. Sri Ram, who was the best in the Raghu's clan, sat under the shade of the Shesham tree. Around this time, Guha, the chieftain of the Nishad boatman community, heard the good news by word of mouth about the auspicious arrival of Sri Ram. As soon as he heard it, in order to meet his only friend and lord, he collected fruits, honey, and flowers, etc., with a cheerful mind and went there to meet him. He put these gifts in front of Sri Ram and fell before him like a stick. Then Raghav immediately picked him up and embraced him. When Sri Ram asked about his well-beings, Guha replied with folded hands, "O Lok Pavan, that is, one who purifies the world, I am privileged and feeling honored. My taking birth as a Nishad has borne fruits, and I feel fully rewarded. O the most exalted in Raghu's clan, I feel extremely glad and exhilarated by your physical presence. This kingdom, that is of the boatman community, belongs to you. Oh, Sri Ram, you stay amongst us and protect us. Come, enter the city and purify my household. O Lord, please accept whatever fruits and roots that I have collected for you. O the most exalted God, I am your servant. Show your munificence and benediction to me." Sri Ram, very pleased, and replied, "O friend, listen, I cannot go to a village or house for the next 14 years, and neither can I eat fruit roots offered by others. O friend, all of your kingdom is mine, and you too are my most dear friend. After that, Sri Ram asked for milk, that is, sap of the Vat tree. From Vat tree is a banyan, and along with Lakshman, matted and tied his hairs properly. For understanding, the sticky sap of the banyan tree is used by hermits to tie their hair into a tress and then pile the tresses on top of the head, like a pyramid or a crown, like a jata. Lakshmana made a bed of grass and leaves, and Sri Ram, accompanied by Mata Sita, seated himself on it and slept on it like he used to earlier on a bedstead back in his palace in Ayodhya. Near him, Lakshman, armed with a bow, arrow, and quiver, and accompanied by Guha, who was also armed with a bow, sat vigilantly alert to protect Sri Ram while he slept. With this, we come to the end of Canto 5. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 6. Lakshman's Gospel, Crossing of River Ganga, Meeting with sages Bharadwaj and Valmiki, and Valmiki's Gospel. Lord Shiva said, O Parvati, seeing Sri Ram sleeping on the ground in a humble condition, Guha filled his eyes with tears and said to Lakshman politely, O brother, are you watching? Raghav, who used to recline on a golden bedstead on beautiful mattresses in his majestic palace, is sleeping along with Sita on the rough bed made up of grass and leaves on the ground. The Creator has made Kaikeyi the cause of all his agony and distress to Sri Ram. She has greatly sinned by relying on the corrupted wisdom of Mantara. Hearing this, Lakshman said, O friend, listen to me, who is responsible for sorrow, distress, and agony of others. A man's past deeds is the only cause of his happiness and sorrows. No one can give sorrows or happiness. To think that someone else is responsible for one's happiness or sorrows is ill advised. I do it. This ego or pride is in vain and futile, because everyone is shackled by the rope of one's own deeds. That is, every person is impelled by his past and present deeds, karma, and their resultant effects. The pure self, the true I, which is pure consciousness, in fact, does nothing. It has no ego or pride as such. A person establishes various imaginary relationships such as friends, or an enemy, indifference, apathy, malice, ill will, or a median path of evilness or equanimity, as well as of brotherhood, by behaving, interacting differently with people with whom he comes in contact in this world. Hence, a person should bear all sorrows or happiness that come along his way due to the effects of his past deeds, prarabdha, with great fortitude, indifference, forbearance, equanimity, and placidity of mind. And as a consequence, he should remain calm, cheerful, happy, and serene. We do not desire to acquire and enjoy the pleasures of the sense organs and the objects of this materialistic world, nor do we wish to abandon or forsake them. Whether they come or not, we are not dependent on them. That is, we do not yearn for or bother about them for our happiness. In whichever country or whatever time one does good or bad, auspicious or inauspicious deeds, without doubt he has to enjoy or suffer its consequences accordingly. Hence, with the sprouting and ripening of the fruits of auspicious or inauspicious deeds and demeanors, it is useless to feel happy or sorrowful, because the edict by the Creator cannot be violated by either the gods or the demons. A man is constantly surrounded by a variety of sorrows, agonies, and happiness. because the human body is a result of a cocktail, that is, a combination of evil and goodness, and is therefore naturally subjected to their inherent characteristics and qualifying features. Sorrow follows happiness, and vice versa. Both of them are sequential and unavoidable by the creature, like the day and night. Sorrows and agonies are inherent to happiness and joy, and vice versa. Both of them have the same relationship with each other as water has with slush. This is why the wise ones regard everything as an illusion and bear with fortitude, forbearance, and equanimity both success or disaster without having either the emotions of delight and happiness or anguish and remorse at it. While Guha and Lakshman were talking with each other, the dawn illuminated the sky. Then Sri Ram became alert and carefully sipped a palmful of water and did his daily purification rituals. After that, he said, "O friend, bring a strong boat for me soon." Hearing these words of Sri Ram, the Lord of the Nishad community himself brought a boat with an auspicious make and markings and submitted, "O Lord, board the boat along with Mata Sita and Lakshmana. I shall row it myself most carefully along with my kin, my clansmen." Sri Ram first put the virtuous and good charactered Sita on it. Then he held the hands of Guha and boarded the boat himself. Thereafter, having placed his arms and armaments on board, Lakshman himself boarded the boat. Then Guha rowed the boat himself, along with his clansmen. When the boat reached midstream, Janaki prayed to river Ganga, "O goddess Ganga, I bow my head before you. While returning from the forest, I shall worship you along with Sri Ram and Lakshman." Having prayed so, they crossed the river in due course and proceeded further on their path. Then Guha requested Raghav, Sri Ram, "O Rajendra, King of Kings, I shall also accompany you. Give me your consent. Otherwise, I shall leave my life." Hearing the vow of Nishad, Sri Ram said to him, "I shall come here after spending 14 years in the Dandakaranya forest. Whatever I say is the truth, for verily Ram does not tell a lie." Saying this, Sri Ram consoled his devotee Guha, embraced him repeatedly, and bid him farewell. Then Guha returned home unwillingly and with difficulty. Thereafter, Sri Ram, along with Vaidehi, that is Mata Sita, and Lakshmana, arrived near the hermitage of sage Bharadwaj and stood outside it. Seeing a resident brahmachari, celibate, there, he said to him, "O the hermit's attendant, go and inform your guru that the son of Dasrath, Ram, is standing outside the hermitage along with Sita and Lakshman." Hearing these words, the brahmachari went immediately to the sage, touched his head at the feet of sage Bharadwaj, and said, "O Lord, Sri Ram has come with his wife and younger brother, and he is standing outside. Sri Ram, who is as revered and exalted as the gods, has asked me to convey the news of his arrival to you." Hearing this, the exalted sage Bharadwaj stood up instantly, and taking along water for oblation and other offerings with him, he came near Sri Ram. Seeing Sri Ram, he worshipped him along with Lakshmana in a proper way, and welcoming him, he said, "O Sri Ram, O the lotus-eyed one, come, purify my thatched hut with the dust of your feet." Saying this, he escorted the two brothers along with Sita to his hut. Then he worshipped them with full devotion, systematically and formally welcoming them. Then he said, "Sri Ram, my austerities and penances have become fulfilled by having your communion. O Lord, I know all about your past and future. I also know that you are the Supreme Lord Himself personified, and assumed a human form by your delusionary powers to complete the job of the gods. The reason why you have manifested yourself because of Lord Brahma's prayers in an earlier time, the reason why you have sent to exile in the forest, and whatever you shall be doing in the future, I know all that by the virtue of transcendental vision, which I have acquired by the grace of your devotion and worship. O the best one in Raghu's clan, what more can I tell you? I have been greatly honored, feel privileged that I am watching you. O the son in the clan of Kukusta, you are beyond nature and are the most exalted supreme soul. Then, along with Sita and Lakshman, Sri Ram bowed before the sage and said, O Brahmin, we are born in the Kshatriya clan, hence we are subjects of your grace and kindness. Having mutually shown respect to each other, they put up with him, that is, stayed for the night at his hermitage. Waking up in the morning, Sri Ram boarded a large boat without a sail, like a type of a canoe, which was constructed by the boys residing in the hermitage of Rishi Bharadwaj, and used it to cross the river Yamuna. He proceeded towards the Chitrakoot mountains as directed by sage Bharadwaj. At Chitrakoot, sage Valmiki's hermitage was located. When he reached the sage's hermit, which was full of other hermits and ascetics, various types of animals and birds formed its integral part, and which was always full of fruits and flowers, he saw that the most exalted rishi was sitting there. Then Sri Ram, along with Lakshman and Sita, paid his respects to him with bowed head. Sage Valmiki's eyes fell on him, whose eyes were as beautiful as a lotus flower, whose body contour was like that of a Kamdev Cupid, who had a crown of matted hairs, who could enchant the three lokas with his stupendous beauty, and who was the lord of Sri Lakshmi. That is Sri Ram, along with Mata Sita and Lakshman. Immediately on seeing him, sage Valmiki stood up eagerly, immediately. His eyes were blank with astonishment and disbelief, and they were filled with tears of exhilaration and delight. He embraced Sri Ram, who was an embodiment of supreme bliss, peace, and tranquility. He duly worshipped the Lord, who is worshipped by the whole world with full devotion and dedication, by offering oblations, offered him eatables such as sweet fruits and roots as refreshment, and in this way he showed affectionate welcome to him. Then Raghav most politely said to sage Valmiki with folded hands, "We have obeyed our father and have come to Dandakaranya forest. You know everything. What reason should we give you for it? Now please show me a place where I can stay peacefully and comfortably in the forest. At the place directed by you, I shall spend some time living with Sita." When Ram had said this, the sage smiled and said, "O Sri Ram, you are the only and the best place for all creatures to reside in, while at the same time they are your abode. The macrocosmic soul resides at the microcosmic soul in all creatures as pure self or pure consciousness or the Atma of the creatures. O Raghunandan, this is the general place where you can reside. But since you have asked me for a place where you can stay with Mata Sita, so, O the exalted one of the Raghu's clan, I shall now list those specific places where you can live. One who is tranquil, serene, peaceful, is equanimity towards all, is without malice, and worships and remembers you day and night. His heart is the main place where you can reside. He who is not too obsessed with either dharma as well as adharma, and instead constantly worships, adores, and remembers you. O Sri Ram, you should reside in his heart like a temple most joyfully and comfortably along with Sita. One who reverentially repeats the jap of your holy name, who takes shelter at your holy feet and is without confusions, doubts, consternations, or dilemmas of any kind, as well as do not have any worldly attachments, allurements, and attractions of any manner whatsoever, the heart of such a person is your beautiful temple. He who is devoid of any kind of pride, is tranquil, is without any sort of attachment or ill will towards anyone, and treats a dead pinda, a ball shaped rounded dough made of cereals offered to dead ancestors, literally any lifeless dead body, a stone, and a piece of gold equally, the heart of such a person is your residence. He who concentrates his mind and intellect on you and remains ever contented and satisfied, who offers all his deeds and their results to you, his mind and heart is your auspicious abode. He who does not have any kind of malice, ill will, or hatred, that is, never gets agitated and vengeful, even when subjected to unfavorable circumstances and unpleasantness, and neither does he get thrilled, happily excited, or delighted on receiving anything pleasant or having favorable circumstances, and having decided that all the worldly events and happenings are mere illusions, deceptive and manifestations of Maya, he constantly worships, adores, and remembers you. The heart and mind of such a person is your residence. He who sees the six faults in his gross body, but not in the eternally pure soul, who regards hunger, thirst, happiness, sorrows, grief, and fears as a defect of the vital winds and mind intellect complex, and who is detached from the various aspects of the behavioral world, the mind and intellect of such a person is your own abode. Just for reference, the six faults or defects relevant to the body are power or authority, birth, increase in shape and size, change, decay, and destruction or death. Moving on. He who sees the Supreme Being represented by you, who are enlightened and eternally blissful, a personification of truth, eternal, without an end or beginning, the one and the only one, faultless, untarnished, as well as unattached, are all pervading and worthy of adoration, as being present in all the souls of all creatures. O Sri Ram, you should make residence in their lotus like hearts along with Mata Sita. He whose mind and intellect have become stable by constant practice, who involves himself in the service of your holy feet, whose sin and accumulated evil deeds have been destroyed by the singing of your holy name in chorus. Their lotus like heart is the residence of both you and Sita. O Sri Ram, by the potential power and grace of that holy name, I have achieved the exalted stature of a Brahma Rishi. How can anyone describe the glory and fame of that divine name? In an earlier time, I lived and was brought up among the Kirats, the forest tribals. My activities and behavior were like Shudras, that is, the working class. My higher class was confined only to my birth because I was born a Brahmin. Many sons were born from a Shudra like sperm, that is, though I was born a higher class Dvej, my deeds had turned me into a virtual working class, and therefore the sons born to me were also, for all practical purposes, no better than the working class. At that time, due to the company of robbers, I too had become a great bandit myself. Like Kal, who represents death for creatures, I too also held a bow and arrow to threaten and, if necessary, kill my victims. One day I saw the 7 celestial sages pass through a dense forest. They were self-illuminated, like the fire and the sun due to their own splendor and radiance, with a desire to rob them of their priceless clothes. I ran behind them due to greed and turpitude. I said, "Stop, stop." The sages looked at me and admonished me, saying, "Oh, the fallen Dvija, why are you coming behind us?" I replied, "Oh, the best among sages, I have many hungry sons and kins to look after. So I have come to take something so as to sustain them. I keep on roaming in the forest and surrounding mountains, looting travelers and killing animals for feeding and sustaining them." Then those sages fearlessly asked me, "All right, go once again to your kinsmen and ask them individually if they will share the sins and treasury of evils that you are accumulating daily by your misdeeds for their sake. Be assured that till the time you come back, we will stay here and not run away or escape." I said, "All right," and came home and asked my sons and wife the question which the sages had asked me. Oh, the best in the Raghu's clan. To my surprise, they said, "The sins and evils will be all yours. We only enjoy the fruits that are derived out of it. That is the wealth, food, clothes that you bring for us. We are not concerned how you bring them, or how you manage to gather or arrange for them, or the means you apply to acquire them. We are only concerned with the fruits of your efforts." When I heard this, I was shocked, disillusioned, dismayed, and being overcome with detachment, I returned to the place where the seven sages were. On the way, I was constantly reflecting on the significance of this revelation. Then my internal being was purified. At the sight of the sages, I threw away the bow and fell down like a stick on the ground before the sages. Oh, the best among sages, save me from falling in this ocean of sin, evils, and vices. Seeing me agitatedly shouting in this way, they said to me, "Stand up. The good company that you have had with us has borne fruit. You should certainly have welfare and auspiciousness. We shall preach you a little that will be sufficient to liberate you." Then they held a brief discussion among themselves to the effect that though this wretched and befallen Brahmin is best avoided by gentlemen because of his great sins, evils, misdeeds, misdemeanors, since he has come to seek refuge with us, we must make sincere efforts to salvage him. O Sri Ram, deciding thus, they reversed the letters of your holy and divine name and said to me, "You stay here and constantly, unfailingly, and with due conviction, faith, and concentration, repeat Mara Mara, the reverse order of the word Ram Ram, until the time we come back again. You should steadfastly repeat or chant these words without fail." Saying this, all those divine sages went away. Thereafter, I did exactly as instructed by them. In this way, by constantly doing the japa, the mantra, with intense concentration and faith, I became unaware of all the external world and its stimuli. With the passage of a long time, since I was absolutely immobile and devoid of any external contacts, a mound of mud, Valmik, formed over me. After the passage of 1,000 yugs, those sages came back again and said to me, "Come out," and I stood up immediately. Coming out of the mud mound, like the sun emerging through the mist of fog, then the sages proclaimed, "O sage, henceforth you will be known as Valmiki." Just for your reference, one yug is usually equal to 12 years. Therefore, sage Valmiki did a tapas or tapa for 12,000 years. Moving on. Since you have emerged from the mud mound, hence this is tantamount to your second birth. Oh, the best in the Raghu's clan. Saying this, they went away to heavens. O Sri Ram, I have become such an exalted and fortunate one by the virtue of your holy name that I am having the good fortune of viewing you, who are a lotus-eyed one, along with Sita and Lakshmana. Ah, verily, without doubt, I have been liberated. O Sri Ram, come. Now, I shall show you the place for your residence during your sojourn in the forest. Saying this, the sage, accompanied by his disciples and Lakshman, went to a place midway between the mountains and river Ganga and had a large cottage type dwelling constructed there for the use of Sri Ram. There were two rooms in it, one east west and another in the north south axis. The place where Ram lived in Chitrakoot was constructed in the above manner. The description is very clear about the layout or plan of the structure. This fact is different from Tulsidas Ramcharitmanas, where the hut for Sri Ram was built by Lakshman alone. Moving on, Sri Ram, along with Mata Sita and Lakshmana, took up residence in that magnificent dwelling most cheerfully and comfortably, like gods do in their divine abodes. Having been praised and honored in all possible ways at the hands of Valmiki, Sri Ram, along with Mata Sita and Lakshmana, accompanied by gods and hermits, sages, ascetics, etc., began to live there most happily, even as Indra, the king of lords, gods, lives in heaven with his wife Sachi. With this, we come to the end of Canto 6. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 7. Sumantra's return to Ayodhya, Dasrath's death and cremation, the story of Shravan Kumar, Bharat's arrival in Ayodhya. Lord Shiva said to Parvati, "Here, during dusk, Sumantra hid his face with a cloth and entered Ayodhya with tearful eyes. Leaving the chariot standing outside the gates, he went inside the royal palace to meet the king. He praised Dasharath with salutary words, Jai, and bowed his head before him in respect. The king saw Sumantra bowing before him alone, and he was overcome with grief. He said, O Sumantra, where is Sri Ram along with Sita and Lakshmana? Where have you left Sri Ram? What did he have to say for this sinner? What did Sita and Lakshmana say to this cruel me? O Sri Ram, O a treasury of virtues, O the soft-spoken Sita, don't you see that I'm dying by getting drowned in a sea of grief and sorrow?" This way, the king lamented and wailed for a long time and submerged himself in an ocean of grief and sorrows. Seeing the king lamenting and weeping, the minister, Sumantra, folded his hands and said, O king, I had taken Sri Ram, Sita and Lakshmana astride your chariot. They halted on the banks of river Ganga near Sringverpur. The king of the Nishad, the boatman, community, Guha, brought some fruits and edible roots, etc., but Sri Ram did not eat them. He touched them and left them alone. After that, Raghunandan asked Guha to bring some milk, that is sap of the banyan tree, matted his hairs to form a crown over his head like a hermit, and then he said to me, O Sumantra, tell the king not to grieve or feel sorry for us. We shall get greater comfort in the forest as compared to Ayodhya. Say our pranam to the mother also and ask her to stop worrying or feeling sorrowful for us. The king is old and extremely agitated, distressed and overwhelmed by anguish and grief at our separation. So console him with proper tender care. Oh, the best among kings! After that, Sita kept glancing at Sri Ram and said to me with tearful eyes and a voice choked with sorrow, Tell my due respects to my two mother-in-laws. Saying this, she lowered her head and went away from there, weeping. Then all of them boarded the boat, with tears welling up in their eyes. I stood there till the time they had crossed the river to the other side. Then I started back from there and have reached here with great anguish, a heavy heart, and with great difficulty. Kaushalya said to the king, weeping, O king, even if you had been pleased with your beloved Kaikeyi, and gave her the boon of giving her son the kingdom. But say, why did you give exile to my son? And after doing all this mischief yourself, why do you cry? Hearing these sarcastic and taunting words of Kaushalya, the king was tormented beyond redemption, as if live fire had touched a raw wound. The king then replied to Kaushalya with tearful eyes, I am already dying due to anguish and grief. Why do you torment and pour scorn at me further? What is the benefit of doing it? There is no doubt that my life is about to leave this body. In an earlier time, a sage had cursed me due to my foolishness and misdemeanors. Once, being wild due to youthful arrogance, I was wandering near the banks of a river, near a dense forest in the night, with a bow and bow and arrow in hand, looking for a game to hunt. At around midnight, some hermit had dipped his pot in the water to take it to quench the thirst of his father and mother. The pot made a great gurgling sound of water filling into it. Thinking that some elephant was drinking water in the dark night, I mounted an arrow which could home into the origin of the sound and shot it. When the arrow struck, there was the voice of a human exclaiming, Alas, I am killed, O Creator! I had not harmed anyone in any way. Then why has someone killed me? Alas, my mother and father are waiting for me, expecting water to drink. Hearing this human voice, I was greatly perturbed and scared, and went stealthily to him and said, O Lord, I am Dasrath. I have shot this arrow inadvertently. O sage, please save me. Saying this, I fell down at his feet with a choked voice. Then that hermit told me, O the exalted king, don't be afraid. You shall not be tormented by the sin of killing a Brahmin, because I am a Vaishya by birth, who am engaged in austerities and penances. My mother and father must be waiting for me anxiously because of their hunger and thirst. Therefore, you should make haste and go give them water, because otherwise, if my father gets angry, he will reduce you to ashes. After giving him water and bowing before him, tell him about your misdeeds. I am under immense pain. Remove this arrow which is stuck in my body, for I wish to die soon. When the hermit had said so, I extracted the embedded arrow from his body immediately, took the pot of water, and went hastily to the place where his parents were waiting for him. At that moment, they were agitated and anxious with worries. We are very old, handicapped by our vision, and greatly distressed due to the hunger and thirst. What is the reason that our son has not come back with the water during the night till now? We have no other support or help. We are old, in a pitiable state, and greatly tormented by extreme thirst. What is the reason that our devoted son has been negligent towards us? Just at that instant, hearing the sound of my footsteps, the father asked, Oh son, why are you so late today? Come, bring the clean water for us to drink, and you drink it yourself with us. When he said so, I hesitantly and slowly moved closer to him, fearing for what was to come. There, I bowed my head at his feet and said politely, I am not your son, but the king of Ayodhya, Dasrath. I am so sinful that I roamed around in the forest hunting animals during the night. Though I was far away from the banks of the river, when I heard the sound coming from the riverside, and thinking that it was a deer or some other game drinking water, I shot an arrow directed at the spot from where the sound emanated. But when I heard someone say, I am killed, in a human voice, I reached the spot most fearfully and full of regrets. Reaching the spot, when I saw a hermit's son lying in the ground with his tresses spread all around him, I was terrified and caught hold of his feet and said, Save me. Then he reassured me, saying, Don't be afraid. You will not have the fear of killing a Brahmin. Go and let my father and mother have water to drink, bow before them, and plead for your life. On the advice of the hermit's son, this hermit slayer has come to you. Both of you are very merciful and compassionate. I have come to seek refuge at your feet. You should save or protect me and forgive me for my inadvertent error. Hearing this shocking news and overcome with grief and outrage, the old couple fell to the ground and moaned, "Take us immediately to the place where our son is." Then I took those elderly couple to the place where their son lay on the ground near the river. They touched him with their hands and lamented and wailed miserably, crying, "O son!" They lamented most woefully, "Son, give us water. Why don't you give us water with your hands today?" Then they said to me, "O king, make a funeral pile immediately." I did it soon as ordered. The, the three of them climbed it, and when the fire was lit, they got reduced to ashes and their souls went to heaven. At that time, the elderly father had cursed me, saying, "You too will have the same fate. You too will die due to the agonies and sorrows associated with separation from your son." This inviolable curse has presented itself to me today. Saying this, the king started gravely lamenting and moaning, "O son Ram, O Sita, O virtuous Lakshmana, by the agony of your separation, I am dying a death presented to me, thanks to the courtesy of Kaikeyi." Moaning and grieving thus, Dashrath left his mortal coil and went to the heaven. At that moment, Kaushalya, Sumitra, and other queens started beating their chests, moaning, wailing, and weeping. At the crack of dawn, sage Vashistha came there, accompanied by the ministers. They kept Dashrath's body submerged in a tub, literally a boat, filled with oil to prevent decomposition, summoned royal messengers and ordered them, "Ride on swift horses and go forthwith to the capital of Yuddhaji. There Bharat lives with Shatrughan. Go and tell them my command that they should come back to Ayodhya immediately and meet Dashrath and Kaikeyi." When sage Vashishta had instructed them thus, the messengers rushed to Bharat's maternal uncle's place. They bowed before Yuddhaji, Bharat, and his younger brother Shatrughan, and said, "O king, sage Vashishta has sent an urgent word for you," meant for Bharat, that along with his younger brother Shatrughan, he should immediately come back to Ayodhya without thinking twice. Hearing this command of his guru, Bharat was terrified and overcome with fear. He wondered whether some calamitous problem or danger has happened for the king or Sri Ram, that they have called him in such a haste, and so he urgently departed from there along with Shatrughan and the messengers. He was very worried and anxious throughout the duration of his journey to Ayodhya. Having arrived in the city, he found it lacking in its usual grandeur and majesty, almost desolate, and lacked its usual festivities. Seeing all these ominous signs, he was very perplexed and worried. Inside the royal palace, he observed there was no usual royal ambience and pomp. Kaikeyi was sitting alone. Seeing his mother, he affectionately, devotedly bowed his head at her feet. Seeing that Bharat has arrived, Mother Kaikeyi quickly lifted him affectionately, embraced him, and made him sit on her lap. She smelled his head and asked him about the welfare of her own clan and family members back home. She asked, "Are my father, brother, and the virtuous mother all right?" "Son, I'm very fortunate to see you today." When the mother inquired thus, Bharat retorted with a worried mind and asked her instead, "Mother, where is my father that you are sitting here alone?" "Mother, the father never stayed alone without you, but he is not visible anywhere now. Please, where is he? I'm unable to see my father. I have come and become very upset and afraid." Then Kaikeyi replied, "Oh, Anag, what is there for you to feel sorry about? O the one who loves his father so much, the end which is destined for the noble and virtuous person who performs the various sacrifices, such as the Ashwamedha Yagna, the horse sacrifice, has been attained by your father. Therefore, he has gone to heaven." As soon as he has heard this, Bharat was overwhelmed with outrage, grief, and sorrows, and he fell to the ground. He lamented mournfully, "O dear father, leaving me behind in an ocean of sorrow and anguish, where have you gone? Alas, even without handing me over to Lord Ram for custody and care, where have you gone?" Kaikeyi lifted her son, who was lamenting most remorsefully, and lay spread-eagled on the ground with dishevelled hair, wiped his tears, and tried to console and comfort him, saying, "Son, have courage and forbearance. Bless you with welfare. I have fixed everything for you." Bharat asked, "What did the king say at the time of his death?" At this, Devi Kaikeyi said fearlessly, "He kept on saying, 'O Ram, O Sita, O Lakshman,' for a long time before making his exit for the heavens." Bharat asked, "O mother, then were Sri Ram, Lakshman, and Sita not with him at that time? Where did they go at the time of his death? Where are they?" Kaikeyi said, "Your father had made preparations for making Sri Ram a prince regent. At that time, I created an obstacle in it, in order to give the reign of the kingdom to you. In an earlier time, the king was pleased with me and promised to give me two boons. Out of these two, by one, I had asked the entire kingdom for you, and by the second, I had asked for Sri Ram's exile to the forest, observing all the austerities befitting a hermit. That is why your truthful father, the king, has given you the kingdom and has sent Sri Ram to exile in the forest. Sita, who is loyal to her vows as a faithful and loyal wife, also followed him to the forest. Likewise, Lakshman expressed his brotherly love by following Sri Ram. Since they had all gone to the forest, the king had wailed Ram, Ram in their memory and left his body. Hearing these stern, heartless, and remorseful words of the mother, Bharat was shocked and confounded beyond belief, and fell down on the ground like a tree struck by a bolt of lightning. Seeing his miserable condition, Kaikeyi reiterated once again, "O son, why do you lament? After having got a great kingdom, where is the cause of any sorrows or regrets?" Hearing the mother speak these words, Bharat burst out seething with anger. "O you sinner, you are not fit to talk to. O you cruel and merciless one, you are the murderer of your husband. O you sinful one, having taken birth from your womb, I too am evidently a great sinner. I will either enter the fire or else consume poison or commit suicide by stabbing myself with a dagger and go to hell. O the harmer of your husband, O you wicked one, you too shall fall in the Kumbhe Pak, that is the most horrible hell, for your outrageous, most contemptible, and reprehensible deeds." Strongly scolding and taking to task Kaikeyi in this manner, he went to the palace of Kaushalya. As soon as she saw him, she began to weep openly. Then Bharat too fell at her feet and started crying. Embracing him, Sri Ram's glorious mother, who had become very weak and was in a painful condition, filled her eyes with tears and said, "O son, all these misfortunes that have happened here after you had gone away, you surely must have heard all about the misdemeanors and misdeeds of your mother from her own mouth. My son Sri Ram, the most exalted in Raghu's clan, along with his wife Sita and brother Lakshman, attired himself in clothes made from barks of trees, matted his hair, and went to the forest, leaving me submerged in an ocean of grief and sorrow." She cried, "O Ram, O my Raghuvamshmani," meaning the gem of Raghu's clan. "You, who is a personification of supreme cosmic soul called Paramatma himself, have taken birth from my womb, but still sorrows and miseries have not stopped dogging me. This has led me to think or conclude that destiny is more powerful." Bharat saw her grieving remorsefully, and he caught hold of her feet and said, "O mother, listen to me. Whatever Kaikeyi had done at that time of Sri Ram's anointment, or whatever else she has done or said, if I know about it at all, If I had been aware of it, or if I had my tacit support or consent of any kind, then, O Mother, let me be cursed by sins equivalent to 100 murders of Brahmahatya. Oh, the sin which is begotten by killing Guru Vashistha and his wife Arundhati by the sword would be cast upon me. Making such an oath, Bharat burst out weeping uncontrollably. Then Kaushalya clasped him to her bosom and reassured him, saying, O son, I know all this, that you are not guilty. You should not worry at all. There is no misunderstanding with me. I know that you are not party to all this evil design of your mother. At about that moment, hearing of Bharat's arrival, sage Vashishta came to the royal palace, accompanied by other ministers. Seeing Bharat weeping bitterly, he said to him, King Dashrath was old, wise, truthful, victorious, and true to his vows. He has enjoyed all the comforts and fruits of taking birth as a human being, has propitiated the Lord by donating a lot of wealth and doing the Ashwamedh Yagya and performing other religious rituals. As a consequence, he has obtained Lord Vishnu himself in the form of his son Sri Ram. After having got all these benefits, he has gone in the end to the heaven and has become authorized or eligible to sit on one half of the throne of Indra. He is verily not worthy of feeling pity for, and is a worthy subject fit for emancipation and salvation. You are unnecessarily mourning for him. See, Atma is eternally imperishable, most pure and without any birth or destruction of any kind, while the body is lifeless, most impure and destructible. When one thinks in these terms, there is no scope of regrets, grief, remorse, or lamentation of any kind. If a father or a son dies, only the ignorant fools cry or mourn for him by beating their chests. But in this meaningless world, if a wise person has to suffer separation from anyone, it is the cause of renunciation and detachment for him and enhances his peace, tranquility, happiness, and bliss. If anyone has taken birth in this world, then surely death is attached to him. Hence, for all those who have taken birth, death is an unavoidable adjunct. Every creature takes birth and dies according to its own deeds. But what an irony! Look, in spite of knowing it, the foolish and ignorant people have so much grief or mourn for their kin, relatives, and friends. Crores of Brahmans have been destroyed. Numerous creations have passed away. All these oceans would dry up one day. Then, what should one rely upon in this momentary life? This age is like a drop of water hanging on the edge of a shaking or quivering leaf. It is momentary, transient, uncertain, and unstable. It betrays and abandons without any warning. What reliance do you put on it? This soul has acquired this body as a result of the deeds done by it in its previous body, and by virtue of the deeds done by this body, it shall get the next birth. In this manner, the soul repeatedly acquires one body after another, even as a man discards his old clothes and puts on new ones, so does a soul assume a new body by discarding the earlier one. Hence, what is the cause of sorrow and grief in it? Because the Atma never takes birth, nor dies, nor increases at any time. The Atma is devoid of the various faults, blemishes, shortcomings, and misdemeanors. It's eternal and timeless. It is the embodiment of pure consciousness, supreme truth, and supreme bliss, is the witness to the mind intellect complex, and is indestructible or imperishable. That supreme soul is one, without a match or a parallel. and is universally present uniformly. In this manner, you should become aware of the true nature of the Atma, become free from grief and remorse, and complete your work. O Kulnandan Bharat, take the body of your father out of the boat filled with oil, and accompanied by ministers and sages, perform his last rites according to established traditions. When his guru had consoled him as above, Bharat forsook grief and lamentation incited by ignorance and delusions and did the last rites of the king. As per advice of his guru, he performed the funeral of his father's body as per the edicts and established traditions sanctified by the scriptures by offering inter alia oblations to the sacrificial holy water. On the 11th day, he fed hundreds and thousands of Brahmins who were expert in the Vedas, while he donated a lot of wealth, thousands of cows, many villages, garments, and gems to them for their benefit of his father. After that, he constantly remembered Sri Ram. He began to spend his time in his residence, along with sage Vashistha, brother Shatrughan, and ministers. While staying in the house thus, he used to brood and remain contrite and gloomy, because Sri Ram has gone to a terrible, dense, and fearful forest, along with the great daughter of Janak, Mata Sita, and Lakshman. My mother Kaikeyi sparks heartburn in my heart by her mere sight as if she was a demoness. Hence, without doubt, I shall go to the forest soon, and with a sweet smile on my face, I shall serve Sri Ram, whose face is most beauteous, along with Mata Sita there. We come to the end of Canto 7. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 8. Bharat's departure for the forest. Meeting with Guha and sage Bharadwaj. Arrival at Chitrakoot. Lord Shiva said, O Parvati, one day sage Vashistha, surrounded by other sages and ministers, came to the royal court, which was comparable to the divine court of the gods. Sitting on a seat which was as majestic and divine as that of Lord Brahma, the eldest and patriarch amongst the gods, Vashistha summoned Bharat and Shatrughan and made them take their respective seats. He said to Bharat, the vanquisher of enemies, words which were most befitting to the circumstance and time. O son, according to the words of your father, we shall anoint you on the throne today. O the best amongst men, Kaikeyi had asked from the king kinghood for you. The king was a staunch follower of the path of truth, dharma. So he made a promise and fulfilled it by giving it to her. Hence you should have no compunctions about it and allow yourself to be anointed on the throne amidst chanting of mantras by the rishis and seers. Hearing this, Bharat replied, O Lord Rishi, what have I got to do with this kingdom? Sri Ram is the King of Kings. We are but his humble servants. Tomorrow morning we shall proceed to the forest to bring him back. I and all of you and all mothers except the demoness like Kaikeyi, we shall all go to the forest. What can I do? Left to me, I would have killed this lady, who is called my mother for the name's sake only. But the most exalted Raghu would never excuse me for slaying a woman. Therefore, at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning, whether you come along or not, I shall go with Shatrughan on foot to the Dandakaranya forest, O sage, just as Sri Ram had gone. And unless and until he returns, I, along with Shatrughan, will also wear hermit-like clothes made of the bark of trees, make my hairs matted, eat roots, stems, and fruit, and sleep on the ground. Making this firm determination, Bharat fell silent. All the assembled people praised him, saying, Saintly, saintly. Thereafter, when Bharat made his departure the next morning, at the instance of Sumantra, the head minister, All the soldiers, along with elephants and horses, also accompanied him. Kaushalya and other queens, sage Vashistha and others, sages, seers, covered the ground around him. In front and rear, sideways, everywhere, according to their standing in society, they arrived in Shringverpur, and the huge army accompanying Bharat pitched camp at the instance of Shatrughan on the banks of river Ganga. When Guha, the boatman, heard of the arrival of Bharat with a large army, he became suspicious, wondering if Bharat is not going to Sri Ram with any malefic intentions. I should go and find out his true intentions. If his intentions are okay, then he shall be allowed to cross to the other side of the river. Otherwise, my clansmen should arm themselves with their weapons and become alert. They must pull the boats off from the bank and station them in the middle of the river. Having issued these instructions to his people, Guha collected various types of gift offerings and, accompanied by many fully armed clansmen, he came to meet Bharat. There he kept all the gifts before him, and looking askance, he saw the dark complexioned Bharat, attired in clothes made of bark of trees and with matted hair, sitting with his younger brother and ministers. Bharat was remembering Sri Ram and repeating his name, Ram, Ram. Seeing this, Guha put his head on the ground, bowed before him and said, I am Guha. Bharat lifted him immediately, embraced him firmly, and happily asked about his welfare. Then he said to Guha, as if he was his friend, O brother, you have lived with Sri Ram here, and the pure-hearted Sri Ram had embraced you with tearful eyes. You have talked with the lotus-eyed Sri Ram, along with Sita and Lakshmana. Hence, you are most privileged and fortunate. Your life is successful. O the righteous one, please take me to the spot where you had first seen Sri Ram. Show me the place where he had slept, along with Mata Sita. You are Sri Ram's most beloved friend and privileged, fortunate devotee. In this way, Bharat's eyes were filled with tears of devotion, dedication, love, and affection by repeatedly and fondly remembering Sri Ram. In this way, being greatly perturbed and agitated due to the anguish of separation, he went to the spot with Guha where Sri Ram had stayed during the night. There he saw the place where Sri Ram had slept on the ground, with the grass still spread over it. Probably, Guha had maintained that place in the original shape as a memento or a token of remembrance and honor of his exalted guest. Alas, that most delicate and dearest of Janak, Mata Sita, who used to sleep in the royal palace on a soft mattress on a beautiful gem-studded bedstead with Sri Ram, with what hardships did she sleep on this hard makeshift bed of grass blades with Sri Ram, all because of my fault. Shame to me! I have taken birth as a treasure house of sin and evil from the womb of Kaikeyi. Alas, it is because of me that the Supreme Soul Sri Ram had to suffer so much trouble. Alas, the great soul Lakshman's life is blessed that he happily follows Lord Ram even while the latter lives in the forest. My life should be deemed successful if I ever happen to become a humble servant of even those who are junior servants or second-rung servants of those who directly serve Sri Ram. There is no doubt about it. Oh brother, if you know, please do tell me truthfully where he is. Wherever he is, I shall go forthwith to bring him back. Observing that Bharat's heart and mind is pure, Guha said affectionately, O Lord, you have such a truly pure devotion for the lotus-eyed Sri Ram, Mata Sita and Lakshmana. That is, you are really blessed and privileged. Together with the younger brother, Lakshman, Sri Ram resides near Mount Chitrakoot in the vicinity of river Mandakini, in a place having a number of hermitages of hermits and ascetics. There, Sri Ram is happily and comfortably put up, along with Mata Janaki and younger brother. Come, let's go there hastily. First, All of you cross the river Ganga here. Saying this, he quickly summoned 500 boats for the army to cross over the great river and brought a special larger boat, perhaps the one he used for himself. In that boat, he took Bharat, Shatrughan, Sri Ram's mother Kaushalya, and sage Vashistha, and in another boat he put Kaikeyi and other royal women folk. They readily crossed river Ganges and proceeded towards the hermitage of sage Bharadwaj. There, leaving behind his huge army, a little behind, Bharat, along with his brother Shatrughan, went to the hermitage, and on seeing the sage, who was as splendorous as burning fire, sitting there, Bharat prostrated before him with devotion. When the exalted sage came to know that he is Dasrath's son Bharat, he affectionately showed his due respect. Seeing that he was wearing clothes made of bark and matted hair, the sage asked about his general welfare, and then specifically inquired, "Why have you attired yourself in clothes made of birch, while reigning as a king? And why have you come in this forest, which is known for penances and austerities, and which is inhabited by hermits and ascetics?" Hearing these words of sage Bharadwaj, Bharat replied with tearful eyes, "O Lord, you know everything because you are all knowing. Still, whatever you ask is your grace on me." The ugly incident that Kaikeyi had created, putting an obstacle in the anointment of Sri Ram on the throne, and the fact that he has been sent to the forest exile, O the best among sages, I say on oath with your holy feet as witness, I had no idea of anything about it earlier. Saying this, he caught hold of both the feet of the sage with a tormented and anguished mind and heart, saying, "O Lord, you can now judge it for yourself whether I am guilty or innocent. O Lord, what purpose do I have with the kingdom when King Sri Ram is around? O the most exalted sage, I have been Sri Ram's humble follower forever. Hence, O the noble sage, I shall go to Sri Ram, catch hold of his feet, and put all his paraphernalia of kinghood in his custody, in the forest itself. Then, accompanied by sage Vashistha, citizens and other subjects of the kingdom, I shall crown him and take him back to Ayodhya, where I shall serve Lakshmi's Lord, Sri Ram, like a humble servant." Hearing these sincere, emotional outpourings of Bharat's heart, the sage clasped him to his bosom, smelled his hair, and began praising him thus: "O son, I had already known these events through my eyes of transcendental vision. You should not regret, mourn, or lament, for you are a greater and superior devotee of Sri Ram as compared to Lakshman. O the sinless, pure, faultless one, I want to extend my warm welcome gesture not only to you but also to your entire army and retinue. You must have your meals with your army and entourage here today and proceed to Sri Ram's palace tomorrow." Bharat said, "It shall be done as you order." Then sage Bharadwaj sipped some holy water and sat down in his yagya shala. Sitting there, that all-bestowing sage invoked the Kamdenu cow, which has potential powers to fulfill all desires. That cow then presented all the majestic items of worldly comforts. She satisfied all the requirements of Bharat and his army, so that all the soldiers and men were happy and contented. After that, the king of ascetics worshipped and honored sage Vashistha according to the edicts of the scriptures. Thereafter, he satisfied Bharat along with the entire army and entourage. That is, made them fully contented and extremely welcomed and honored. Please note, Bharadwaj Rishi created a virtual heaven on earth for one night for this party. He wished to test their detachment with material comfort and sincerity of their devotion for Sri Ram. Moving on, staying there for one day and night in that heaven like hermitage, at the first ray of the sun the next morning, Bharat bowed before the sage, took his permission, and moved on to Sri Ram's place along with his brother and the entire entourage. When he reached in the vicinity of Chitrakoot, he stopped the soldiers of the army a little distance away and moved ahead himself to have a darshan of Sri Ram. Bharat, Shatrughan, Sumantra, and Guha went around all the cluster of hermitages of those who were doing penances and austerities there, and not finding Sri Ram anywhere despite their best efforts, they returned empty handed. Then they asked the group of sages, "Where does Sri Ram live along with Sita and Lakshmana?" They replied, "On the other side of that mountain, on the yonder, on the northern banks of river Mandakini, is the lonely cottage of Sri Ram at a place adorned by verdant forest. It is hedged by mango trees, plantain trees, and panas, that's jackfruit trees. Besides these, there are trees of various flowers such as the magnolia, kachnar, and nag keshar, adorning the area." Having received this guidance, Bharat, along with his ministers, cheerfully and eagerly moved ahead in that direction where the most exalted Raghu's dwelling was located. Moving ahead, Bharat, along with his brother, had a glimpse of the beautiful dwelling of Sri Ram, which was served by the hermits and ascetics. In it, clothes made from bark of trees and deerskin were hung up on the branches of trees for sunning or drying. The place was rendered most magnificent, enthralling, and attractive by the virtue of Sri Ram's residence there. With that, we come to the end of Canto 8. Ayodhya Khand, Canto 9. Sri Ram, Bharat's meeting, Bharat's return to Ayodhya, Sri Ram's arrival at sage Atri's hermitage. Lord Shiva said, "O Parvati," thereafter, with a mind and heart extremely delighted and submerged in joy, Bharat reached the most pleasant and holy area near the hermitage, which was adorned by the footprints of Sita and Sri Ram. There they saw on the ground in every direction footprints of Lord Ram, identified by the auspicious signs of a Vajra, that is a Vajra, Indra's weapon, a gourd, a lotus, and a flag, etc. Seeing them, Bharat, along with his brother Shatrughan, began to roll over in it. That is, they rolled on the dust of the ground bearing those holy footprints of Sri Ram. "Ah, I am the most blessed and fortunate that I behold that earth adorned by the marks of those holy feet, the dust of which are always searched for by Lord Brahma and other gods as well as by the Vedas." In this manner, Bharat, whose heart was filled with the magnificent and marvelous joy, juice of love and affection, whose mind and heart was submerged in fond remembrance of Raghunath, and whose bosom was drenched in tears of joy, exhilaration, and happiness, slowly neared the hermitage of Sri Ram. Then he, that is Bharat, saw Sri Ram, whose body was dark as the durba grass. That is a special category of grass which is dark green in color and used for religious purposes, and eyes were broad or large, who was attired in new clothes made of birch and had a crown of matted hair on his head, who had a cheerful disposition and demeanor, and was as splendorous and radiant as a midday sun sitting there. He was glancing at the virtuous daughter of Janak, and his feet were being attended to by Lakshman. Seeing him, Bharat dashed forward, submerged in unbound exhilaration and sorrows at the same time. He clasped both his feet. Sri Ram, who had long arms, lifted Bharat with both his arms and embraced him. made him sit on his lap affectionately, and drenching him with his tears, repeatedly clasped him to his bosom. Then, just as thirsty cows rush towards water, Kaushalya and all other mothers hastily and eagerly move ahead to see and meet Raghav, Sri Ram. As soon as Sri Ram saw his mother, he got up quickly and paid his obeisance at her feet, while she embraced her son with tearful eyes and full of extreme sorrows and anguish. Then Raghunandan similarly bowed before all the other mothers as well as to pay his respects. Then, seeing the most exalted sage Vashistha coming there, Sri Ram prostrated himself before him and repeatedly said, I am blessed and fortunate. Then Sri Ram seated all of them properly and asked, Say, is my father all right? What orders has he given for me, being overwhelmed as he is by the agony and grief of my separation? Then sage Vashishta replied, O Raghunandan, Sri Ram, your father, being greatly tormented by your separation, had left his mortal coil, all the while remembering you and calling out your name, O Ram, O Ram, O Sita, O Lakshman, constantly during his last moments. Hearing these shocking words from their Guru, which appeared like thorns or spikes for their ears, Sri Ram and Lakshman cried out, We have been gravely hurt, and fell to the ground. All the mothers and others present there also began to weep. Sri Ram repeatedly wailed and moaned, O dear father, O the compassionate one, where have you gone, leaving me behind? O the valorous one with strong, victorious arms, I have been orphaned. Who will shower his love and affection on me any more? Then Sita and Lakshman also began lamenting and moaning a great deal. Then sage Vashishta calmed down their mental agitations by a tranquil and soothing voice. Then all the people went to river Mandakini and purified themselves by bathing in it. There all of them offered oblations of water to the thirsty soul of King Dasrath, while Sri Ram, along with Ram, Lakshman, did the last rite called Pinddan, a ritual for dead ancestors wherein rounded balls made of cereal are offered to them. That food which is liked by us is also liked by our ancestors. This is the sanction of the Vedas. Saying this, they made pindas or ingadifal, a tree called hingut, and its fruits, the indigo butt plant, poured honey on them and donated these balls in a ritual called Pindada. Thereafter, with tearful eyes, they bathed again and returned to the hermitage. Others also wept and moaned for a long time, bathed in the river, and ultimately returned back to the hermitage. That day, everybody fasted. On the second day, after bathing in the pure waters of river Mandakini, Bharat went to Sri Ram, who was sitting in the hermitage, and said, O Ram, O Ram, O the most fortunate and gracious one, get yourself crowned or anointed to the throne of Ayodhya. The Father's kingdom belongs to you. You should take care of it. You are our elder brother, hence equivalent to a father. To look after the subjects or dependents is the most important duty of a Kshatriya. Hence, you should rule over the kingdom and perform various sanctioned religious sacrifices or make all possible efforts in this direction. And after that, produce sons to propagate the clan. And only when they grow up and are crowned on the throne, you should go to the forest. Not now. Now is not the time for living in a forest. Be pleased and merciful towards me. Whatever is the crime of my mother, do forget it and protect us. Saying this, he put his head affectionately on the feet of his brother and fell down before him like a stick. Raghav hastily picked him up and most endearingly seated him on his lap, filled his eyes with tears of love and joy, and spoke to him slowly and softly. O son, Listen to what I have to say. What you say is absolutely all right and true, but the father had ordered me that I should live in the Dandakaranya forest for 14 years before coming to Ayodhya. Presently, I am giving his kingdom to Bharat. Hence, evidently, he has given the reign to you. And similarly, he has given the reign of Dandakaranya forest to me. Therefore, both of us must strive to keep the words of our father. A person who violates the words of his father is as good as dead, even though he is living, and he who goes to hell when he dies. So you should look after the kingdom, and I shall protect the Dandakaranya forest. Bharat replied to Sri Ram, even if father, under the influence of lust and infatuation of a woman, ignorantly and most foolishly, due to the influence of illusion or fickle and wayward mind, being arrogant and haughty, had said so, it should still not be treated as truthful, even as wise people do not respect the words of ignorant, foolish, and wicked people with a fickle, wayward mind. Sri Ram said, the father has not said this under the influence of any woman. The truthful and righteous one had given these two orders to uphold the earlier promises he had made. The great people are more afraid of telling a lie than going to hell. Even I have truthfully made an oath to him, saying I shall do it. Tell me, being born in the clan of Raghu, how can I turn against my own words? Hearing these words of Sri Ram, Bharat replied, O the upholder of truthfulness, righteousness, and promises. According to the words of the father, I shall live in the forest for 14 years attired in clothes made from bark or birch, while you should comfortably enjoy the kingdom. Sri Ram said, Father has given you the kingdom, while the forest to me. If I now do the opposite, it will be tantamount to being untruthful. Bharat replied, I shall too come to the forest and serve you like Lakshman does. Otherwise, I shall leave food and water and die. Having expressed his firm determination and deciding to implement it, he spread some grass on the floor and sat down on it facing east in a meditative posture. Seeing such strong determination and firm resolve of Bharat, Sri Ram was dumbfounded and, perplexed, he signaled his guru with his sideways glance. Then sage Vashistha, who was the best among the wise ones, took Bharat aside to a lonely place and said, O son, what I am going to say now is secret, most truthful, and a serious fact. Listen to it. Lord Ram is Lord Narayan himself. In an earlier time, he had promised Lord Brahma to slay Ravana, and for that purpose he has taken birth in the household of Dasrath as his son. Similarly, his Yog Maya has taken birth as the daughter of Janak, Sita, while the legendary Sheshnag, that's the 10-hooded serpent, has manifested himself as Lakshmana to follow him. He wants or has to kill Ravana, so he shall go to the forest for sure. Kaikeyi's boons and other cruel deeds and words are the handiwork of gods. Otherwise, how dare could she say such words? So, oh dear, you should leave your insistence on Sri Ram's return. And you must return back to Ayodhya with your mothers and the huge army. Sri Ram, after having killed Ravana, would come there soon. Hearing these words of the Guru, Bharat was extremely perplexed and astonished. He went near Sri Ram and said, O great king, please give me your sandals, which are adored by the world for the purpose of administration of the kingdom. Till the time you come back, I shall keep on serving them. Saying this, Bharat made him wear a pair of divine, magnificent, radiant sandals that he had taken with him from Ayodhya. After symbolically wearing them as a token and seeing Bharat's great devotion and sincerity, Sri Ram took them off and returned them to him. Bharat took those gem studded divine and magnificent sandals, circumambulated Sri Ram, and repeatedly bowed before him. He spoke with a voice choked with devotional and affectionate emotions. If you do not reach Ayodhya on the very first day after the expiry of 14 years, I shall enter a huge sacrificial fire. Sri Ram said, "All right," and bid farewell to Bharat. Then the wise one started making preparations for departure from Chitrakoot along with the entire army, sage Vashistha, Shatrughan, and all the mothers and ministers. At about this time, Kaikeyi met Sri Ram at a secluded place and prayed to him most tearfully with folded hands. O Sri Ram, being misled or being under the spell of the delusionary and deceptive powers of your Maya, this wicked me had created hurdles in your anointment. So you should excuse and forgive me for my wickedness and misdemeanors, because saintly people are always forgiving by nature. You are the personification of Lord Vishnu himself, our unmanifest Supreme Soul and the eternal being. You cast a spell of delusion and deception to divert the attention of the world by your illusionary, false, but seemingly true body of a human being. It is at your instance that people do good or evil. This whole world is subservient to you. Since it is not independent, it cannot do anything on its own, just as a puppet dances to the tune of a maverick player. In a similar way, this Maya, in the form of a dancer, assumes different forms, but is inherently dependent on you. And O the vanquisher of enemies, it was your desire to do the work of the gods that inspired me, sinner, to do this most sinful, abhorrible act with my wicked, corrupt, and devilish wisdom. I have come to recognize you, that is your true self. You are beyond the comprehension of the mind and speech of gods. O the Lord of the universe, O the eternal and timeless one, please save me. O Jagannath, I bow and pay my respects to you. O Lord, I am in your refuge and shelter. You must cut my shackles represented by the cravings, love, and attachment towards my sons and wealth, with the sword representing the fire of enlightenment and truthful wisdom. Hearing these words of sincere remorse and regret, truthful realization, and enlightenment from Kaikeyi, Sri Ram smiled and said, "Oh, the most fortunate one, whatever you have said is true, nothing is false. It was at my instance or inspiration to fulfill the work of the gods that those words had come out of your mouth. In this, there is no fault of yours. Now you should go. By remembering or invoking me constantly in your heart day and night, you should become free of all affectionate relationships or any kind of attachments whatsoever. And by virtue of my dedicated devotion and worship, you would soon attain liberation. I am of an even mind and equanimity towards all, and I do not have anyone who is either dear or opposed to me. Just like a magician does not have any attachment or detachment with the subjects created by his illusion creating powers, I too likewise do not have either affection nor ill will towards anyone. I take care of all in consonant with the way they remember and worship me. O Mother, being enchanted and tricked by my delusionary powers, Maya, the people recognize me to be an ordinary human being. They do not know my true nature. It is your great fortune that you have come to understand and realize my essential supreme truth, which can remove the fears of this mundane, delusionary world. Keep on remembering me and stay in the house For doing this, you shall not be tied to the shackles of deeds and their fruits. When Sri Ram had said so, Kaikeyi was perplexed and astonished. Gladly and cheerfully circumambulated around him, put her head on the ground and bowed before him hundreds of times, and most happily, contentedly, proceeded back to her home. Similarly, Bharat, along with his ministers, mothers, and sage Vashistha, too departed for Ayodhya with haste, remembering Sri Ram all along the way. The wise Bharat established the citizens in the city and the subjects in the various parts of the realm, kingdom in a proper and suitable way. Himself, he went to Nandigram. There he respectfully put the two sandals on a throne and began to worship him or them daily with due devotion and sincerity as representatives of Sri Ram with scented sticks, flowers, offerings, and other accoutrements necessary for royal formal adoration. In this manner, Bharat, along with Shatrughan, began to live piously, a very austere life, eating fruits and roots, restraining his sense organs, wearing matted hair and clothes of birch, sleeping on the ground, and observing celibacy of the highest order. Whatever administrative work of the earth came his way, Bharat used to offer them as a petition to the sandals of Sri Ram for disposal. In this way, waiting out the period of exile, counting each passing day patiently but anxiously, he fixed his attention on Sri Ram and spent his days like a truly attained sage of the stature of Brahma. Meanwhile, here in Chitrakoot, surrounded by sages and hermits, Sri Ram spent some more days with Mata Lakshmi and Lakshmana. Hearing about Sri Ram's dwelling in Chitrakoot with Sita and Lakshman, the inhabitants of nearby towns, villages, and hamlets always used to come with a desire to have his holy darshan. Sri Ram left that mountain when he saw the daily crowd as well as on consideration of the very purpose of his coming to Dandakaranya forest. Starting from there, he, along with Sita and Lakshman, came to sage Atri's hermitage, which was most excellent and was totally devoid of any habitation, but which was comfortable in all possible ways. Reaching there, he saw the sage sitting in his hermitage and illuminating the entire tapovan with his effusing divine radiance. He went near the exalted sage, prostrated before him to pay respects, and said, I, Ram, give you my respect. I have come to Dandakaranya on orders of my father. Presently, even on the excuse of wandering in the forest, I feel extremely fortunate and privileged to have your divine darshan. Hearing these words of Sri Ram, the exalted sage recognized him to be the personification of the Supreme Lord himself, and thereby performed his due worship with immense devotion, then welcoming his guest by offering fruits grown in the forest as refreshment. He most devotionally addressed the most exalted one in Raghu's clan, Sri Ram, Sita, and Lakshman, who were by then seated on a mat in front of the sage. My wife Anusuya is famed by this name. She is very old, has been doing tapa, severe austerities, penances, and fasting for a long time, knows what is dharma, and has great respect for it. Presently, she is inside the hut. O Sri Ram, the vanquisher of enemies, let Sita meet her. Then the lotus-eyed Sri Ram said, All right, and told Sita, O the auspicious one, go and pay your respects to Devi Anusuya and come back soon. Sita agreed and readily carried out the orders of Sri Ram. When Anusuya saw Sita lying prostrate before her, she was thrilled and filled with exhilaration and extreme delight, and exclaimed, O daughter Sita, and respectfully picked her up and embraced her. She gave her 2 earrings and 2 clean silk saris made by Vishwakarma, the smiths of the gods. The auspicious lady Anasuya also gave Sita divine, magnificent, and auspicious Angarag and said, O lotus faced one, by smearing this um, Angarag, a sort of herbal cream on your body, its beauty and youthfulness shall never decrease or decay. O Janaki, you should always follow the vows of a loyal, chaste wife and always follow Sri Ram. Let Raghav return home with all welfares along with you. After that, she systematically, that is in a proper way, served meals to Sri Ram along with Lakshmana and Sita. Then she folded her hand and said to Sri Ram, O Sri Ram, after having created all the bhuvans, worlds, you sustain and take care of them by assuming the various forms of different gods, humans, and lowly creatures. But nevertheless, you are not attached or involved with, engrossed or indulgent in, or clung to those forms. Maya, which is capable of enchanting and keeping the whole world under its spell and its thrall, too is afraid of you. On the banks of river Sarayu, under the shade of the Mandar tree, is a magnificent dais or pavilion. On it is spread a seating mat made of lotus flowers, and the dark complexioned Sri Ram is seated on it. His right hand is held in the Gyan Mudra, and his left hand rests on his left thigh. To his left is Sita, and Lakshman is to his right. Sri Ram's stupendous radiance and majestic beauty is superior to that of the Commodore Cupid. He is meditating upon and experiencing the bliss of peerless and pristine, pure, crystal-like consciousness called the Atma. One should invoke upon and remember Sri Ram with sincere desire for deliverance, emancipation, and salvation, and do japa of this holy mantra. With that, we come to the end of the final canto in the Ayodhya Khand.